Good num morning, and welcome back to session 31 of Blue Reflection Second Light. I wonder if there'll ever be a point ever again after this where I will say session 31 with anything. Oh dear. But we're back. We left off by finally doing all the final, I don't know what you'd call them, like the people scenes. Like the group scenes where you pick someone to. We finally saw the last of them. So we've got a couple more dates to do, but then we've got the road trip boss rush where you go back to every single Heartscape and kind of love tap each one to get the last of the fragments before we open the door to the final dungeon. So we're going to start by doing these dates. We haven't got too many. We've got Reina and Beskal. So who's out here by the piano? Okay, Uta. Sorry to distract your piano practice, but let's go hang out. Oh, we got the general dialogue scenes as well. Okay, we'll go waddle around and see these. Could we go to the piano? I'd like to hear how it sounds. Sure, let's go as we walk away from it, because... But yeah, it crossed my mind, and I thought about it a lot yesterday when I was like, on my rest day and whatnot. Oh, have you got some sweets from Shiro again? May I have some? Of course, we'll split them later. But I was thinking about it and I didn't... It hasn't quite hit me yet that we're at the end of this, It sounds stupid to say that. That's probably why I'm a bit off at the start of this stream, because it hasn't really hit me yet. But it's like, we've been playing this for over 2 months straight. Or on and off. I actually looked at the trophy list and... in the last session, we got the Platinum Trophy, right? That Platinum Trophy, I didn't plan it, it just happened to work out, was exactly to the day 2 months since I got the very first trophy, which was, fixing the roof. And I just thought that was interesting that, our journey, it was exactly, it's been over 2 months now, but that Platinum was exactly 2 months from the start. I'm thirsty. I think I'll grab something. Do you want something, Uta? Which one of these drinks do you like? Which do I like? None of them. There are some I don't like, though. Oh, really? I thought you'd like this one for sure. Why is that? I've seen you drinking it a lot. Then this one. Oh, I was making an assumption. I'm sure it changes depending on your mood. No, I like this one now. Always Uta just like, oh, you saw me liking this one? Okay, I like this one now. You sure? Yeah, because you saw me like it. That's what that's about. Oh, hang on. I didn't even... Oh! Can you see the ash? I didn't even spot the ash. And the ash is starting to get into Oasis now we're near the end of the game. I didn't even notice that. Oh, I don't know how well you'll be able to notice it in... Because it's like little glowing pixels, they're tiny, so I don't know how well you'll notice it in YouTube's compression, but they're there. That's... Oh, I didn't realise. Okay, you can't really see it upstairs at all. Maybe it's because it's closed off, but the broadcasting room gets very hot. I hope the equipment doesn't get damaged. That's a good point. Uta, you're so good at making announcements. I am. Yeah, you have a really calming voice that's easy on the ears. I've actually been told that I should put a little more inflection in my voice. Some people might prefer that, but I like the way you speak. It's perfect for reading the news or something. Oh, maybe you should be a news anchor, Uta. Uta, are you blushing? I... never been complimented like that. I'm not sure how to react. I think you're doing just fine. These pair of beans. These pair of beans. I hope Gust's next game is Blue Reflection free. I imagine it probably won't be. They've probably got a few other things they're going to do first, because there's always an Outlier game of some kind in the works. But it's like... I do hope BR3... I know I talk about it a lot, but I really do hope BR3 happens. And we get to see these characters again, because I'm going to miss being away from this series. I don't think it's a matter of just missing these characters. I think this particular series has kind of left a little mark on me, and I think I'm going to miss being away from it once we are done. It won't be forever, because I said if they do announce a BR3, at some point closer to its release, I want to go, not like all in 100% run, but kind of do like a casual run through both of these games again to kind of refresh myself on them. Oh, look at this blackboard, so pristine. Even the eraser marks are straight to the end of the end. That takes some real skill. Okay, Uta's just like, yes, I did. Did you do this, Uta? Yes, I am in charge of cleaning the classroom blackboard. You can call on me any time you need a blackboard cleaned. I'll be sure to do a perfect job. Hearing Uta brag is adorable. Sometimes I like to look out the window and people watch. The other day I waved and you waved back. Yeah, you are hard to miss. I feel like I could just walk around in circles and listen to like the generic little odd bits of dialogue here and there with all these characters, and I'd still be happy. I don't think I've ever seen a grand piano up close. It sure is incredible, huh? I believe I remember my school having one. It's simply a large piano, is it not? Well, sure it's big, but that's not all. They look super fancy and expensive. Not only do they look it, I've heard they really are quite expensive. Some call them the king of instruments. They're very precise, so producing them and keeping them tuned requires a lot of labor. Huh, you know a lot about this, huh? No, not much really. It's just something I read somewhere. But even for you to remember that much, were you interested in pianos in the other world? Perhaps. They do feel familiar, somehow. Familiar? Maybe you used to listen to a lot of piano music? That may be true. Yeah, pianos just have such a great tone to them. Yes, I agree. That's why I always wanted to learn how to play well. Can you play? I'm gonna say I can, because I said I can't last time. I can, like this. Simply by moving my hands like this, I can make even the most hardened man fall to his knees and weep. Hey, Camo. That sounds like quite the performance. Sorry, I lied. I can't actually play it all. Why are you apologizing? I quite enjoyed the performance you just gave me. Should keep my dumb mouth shut. Why don't you try playing a bit, Uta? Who knows, you might actually be able to do it. Me? Okay, I'll try. Alright, I forgot that it just plays this piano theme, and you're supposed to believe that it's Uta that somehow just played that. Whoa, you're doing it, that's amazing! My fingers just started moving on their own. I remember now. I used to play the organ once. I've forgotten, but it seems as though my body still remembers. Let's have a recital, everyone will love it. See, the music's still playing, though she's taking her hand off the keyboard. I can't help but feel a little scared. I'm not very good. What if no one likes the piece I choose? Uta. Then how about just playing for me, then? I really like what I've heard so far. A private recital for Ao Hoshizaki. I wouldn't mind that. I hope you enjoy yourself. This is another song I know. I hope you're doing alright, Camo. I don't know if we will, because we still got a little bit to do, but there's a chance we might finish this today. And then I'll have to figure out what to do with it. Only got BR1, Hina's a savage, girl literally caused every problem in the first 3 chapters. Yeah, yeah. Oh yeah, because it's supposed to show, like, because Hina is a loner, like, you've seen from BR2 when they show like what she used to be. When she lost her dream, she became a very kind of cold, mindless loner. So when she finds like attending school, you still get to see bits of that. So when someone's suddenly asking her about like their relationship life and how they help it, she doesn't care. She doesn't understand. She doesn't want to understand. So she's very vicious about it. That's why she says, like, solve it yourself. I'm not your don't come to me about your problems. And it's only when it then causes problems that she kind of goes, oh, okay, I should probably do something. But it's very charming, I think, especially when you compare it to like how we know her in 2, to see how kind of rough around the edges she was at the start of 1, and to see how she develops and who she becomes by the end of 1, and how that ends up linking into 2. And remember, I think I've said it before, but my ultimate trick, you know when you're at the start of a chapter, you eventually get that side quest, and also like an urgent quest, and it's like user and lime, hit a set level, get so many side quest points, and I can't remember what the third requirement is. I think it's like get a certain item. The plot won't move until you do that quest. It's the equivalent of when the game in this, it asks you to build something to advance the plot. It's the same deal. The reason why that's significant is because you can infinitely date people as long as you don't advance the plot. So if you're trying to max out everyone, you can do that. You can max everyone out, and then once you max up their rank, it's just waiting for the set chapter of them to unlock a new scene, and then you can advance and see the actual like main cutscene, like see the equivalent of their rank 2, rank 4s, rank 6s, so on and so forth. And I recommend it just because if you just try and do it as and when you go, you won't have enough time to max everyone else out. But if you make it so you have infinite time, then you can just max everyone out as they come. So you won't get to see all of their scenes straight away. You have to get so far in the game for some characters, but you can have it all on the back burner, and it gets you more experience and levels to have characters maxed out. Can you play the piano, Hoshizaki? Just a little. Really? What can you play? Twinkle, twinkle, little star. Does that even count? Oh, I know the alphabet song. They're the same song. Can you play Reina? I only know one song. Really? Can I hear it? Wow, that was amazing. You played the full piece with accompaniment and everything. Did you take lessons? No. Self-taught then? Not exactly. Now that I think about it. I feel like I've heard someone humming that tune before. It was probably me. I've practiced that song so many times it gets stuck in my head. Might have been humming it without realising. No, you're not really the type. I would definitely remember it if you were humming, Reina. I'd be shocked. What's that supposed to mean? Oh, I remember. It was Yuki. It all makes sense now. I'm on the first free roam part after the Sephiroth invade. So I started chapter 4 and I've got like 20 quests already. Yeah, the game kind of dogpiles the quests on you pretty hard at the start of every chapter. Because every quest you do not only gets you levels, or has a chance to give you levels depending on what quest it is, but boosts your rating, which you need for the urgent quests. So they let you kind of pick and choose. Since your progress locked until you do some side quests, they give you loads so you can pick and choose what ones you want to do. I still recommend doing absolutely all of them as they come, just so then you're more ahead of the curve with future parts. And I can't remember, but I think there's a trophy for doing every side quest, so you might as well. And if you do all of them in chapter 10, you get access to the super boss as a reward. And it's also in BR1, when you get to the start of chapter 10, save on another file. Or at least leave a save on another file if you ever decide to go back. Because once you exit chapter 10 and go into chapter 11, you're locked into a linear road from that point onwards until the credits. You can't do side quests, you can't hang with people, you can't do any of that. You're locked in until the credits. Anyway, it all makes sense now. Quit acting so weird. Sorry. Have you played it for Yuki? No, not yet. You're the first person who's heard it, actually. So I'm your first, huh? Don't say it's like that. Hey, I'm just repeating what you said. But I'm honoured to have been selected for your first performance. It didn't select you, you just happened to be here. Alright, anyone else? Okay. The other thing I want to do is change, well, maybe change that storage crate. It's always the user and Lime quest. It's never like a different one. It's always, every single chapter will always have an urgent quest from user and Lime that will say reach a certain level, get a certain amount of ratings. That is always the one that would advance the plot if you do it. So if you just hang out with people, Hino will always just go to bed, finish the school day, wake up the next morning and come in, and you'll get like a generic scene depending on whether you like studied or went straight to bed or you did some cleaning or whatever. The bath scenes are only there to really reflect on the plot, so I stopped doing them eventually in the live stream once I realised that. Like, they're only there to kind of just reflect on things. And if you do, like, say, I don't know, study, and then the study scene following is involving user and Lime, and it's like 5 seconds long, that means you haven't unlocked any, like, you're not far enough in the plot to unlock any new situation to boost your stats. So, like, try again next chapter kind of thing. Anyway, what set does the storage crate? Attack up from all facilities. I can't get rid of it then, damn. I want that attack up, that's too valuable. Same with Yuki's attack and defense. Attack up by 12%, damn. No wonder we're doing insane damage. Yeah, help you attack and defense by 10. And that's just damage. Okay, fine, we'll leave the storage crate. No wonder if I go to Hiyori, she's got nearly 700 attack. Oh, and there is another like quest that says urgent, and it says like to get 99 points of being friends with everyone. There's never a point where the game forces you to do that, but if you do the thing of like maxing everyone out when you get the chance, that'll be maxed out by the time you reach late game. Like, the fact that it says urgent on it makes me think it might affect the ending if you don't do it, but at the same time, I did it on the first run, so I don't know, you know? Like, I don't know if there's like an alternate ending if you don't do it, like a bad ending sort of thing, or what. Oh, also, whilst it's on my mind, I looked into Knights of Azure, both of the games, looked at their trailers and whatnot, and I might see about trying to maybe like start the first one and squeeze that in before Soul Hackers 2, because apparently it's not the longest game in the world, so I might be able to get it in. Like it's like the average completion time isn't that long, so I might be able to get it in before Soul Hackers, but we'll see. I'm gonna finish this first, obviously, because I kind of looked at the trailer and I was like, also, you know, when I was talking about it and trying to figure out what it might be similar to, like, one of the games I mentioned was one of the Atlas titles, Devil Summoner Raido. And I said, is it kind of like Raido, where you kind of control the demons or have some action elements? When I watched the trailer for the first one, even though it's not the same, yeah, I got huge Raido vibes out of it. So that's exciting, because I actually like Raido. It's clunky, but I really enjoyed Raido when I played it. So a game that's similar to it, I'm like, yeah, sure, I'll bring it on. Oh, I'm gonna miss this theme. This seems so nostalgic. Come on, let's rematch you. Hey, remember when you absolutely demolished us in Dungeon 1? Yeah, well, I'm back, bitch. I'm curious how, because we kind of breezed them in normal, and so that's the only thing really, like, between now and the credits that I'm kind of wary of. But I think everything else, I think we're in a position that we should be relatively comfortable dealing with now. It's just the final boss, with how many phases that is and how long the fight went on, that it might be a bit troubling depending on how it goes when we get there. Oh, and Camo, have you got that in Blue Reflection 1? If you unlock that like Tamagotchi thing on Hina's phone, there's a trophy tied to it, and the way to do it's a little awkward. If I set this up, make sure we are fine. You like Azure? It's very campy like this. Yeah, I think as a whole, I think I'll like it anyway. From what I've seen of the trailer, and I watched the trailer for the second one as well, and I was like, oh no, it is the Gust formula, where the second one kind of reinvents the wheel and is far crazier. Okay. But to my shock and surprise, both of them are full-price games. If you're not on, you know, like the PS Plus Extra. Well, not just free space stuff, so yep. Fair enough. So there's a trophy for getting like the ultimate pet at the end of its development. To get it's a little more awkward than you'd think. Like at first I thought it was just have every stat maxed out. No, it's before it reaches like that main development bar at the bottom. I forget what they call it. But it's before it reaches like rank 4. You need to have every stat but stress maxed out. Stress doesn't seem to matter to anything, so you can ignore it. And once you do that, it will first evolve to like a heightened form of itself. After that point, you have the rest of its development life to do everything in your power to get everything to 0. You have to deliberately kind of ruin its mood, ruin its state of mind, ruin everything to bring all of its stats to 0. And it's like, you don't have to be exactly on it, it's just the odds of it becoming the Dark Queen increases the closer to 0 it is. Like, I had like 0, 0, 1, and 1, and I still got Dark Queen. So you can get it if it's not all complete 0, but there's a trophy for getting the Dark Queen, and so that's what you need to do. And it's more awkward than it sounds. You can keep on refreshing. There's like a button at the bottom when you're on it. You can keep on refreshing the instruction until you get an instruction that you want to try and boost the stats easier. But it's still awkward. It still took me a bit. And what I ended up doing is that once I hit rank 4 and actually made it so all the stats were maxed out, I manually saved. So if I screwed up trying to get it on the way to the end, I could just load from that point and try again. Because it lets you progress the development for, I think it's every 2 doors that you pass through. So if you just stand at a classroom door and just keep on going in and out, you'll be fine. No, you'll be able to get it done really quick. But that's assuming you're after the trophies. Oh, and now you're playing BR1. You'll get to meet for yourself my 2 favourite characters. Well, I say it's kind of free, but there's like 2 that I kind of like would ship with Hina more aggressively, and 1 that I just thought was like a bean that I wanted to protect. But I loved Sarasa and I loved Arko. I thought those 2 were amazing. And Arko is like, I was saying during this playthrough that Yuki reminded me a lot of Arko, just, you know, a bit more fleshed out and developed, and you'll see what I mean. Arko is super Yuki before Yuki. Just as I said, nowhere near as much development on her. Appreciate the advice. I would have assumed it meant max stats. Looking to play out both games eventually. Yeah, I thought it was as well, and then when I didn't get the trophy, I eventually just looked it up in my spare time, and I was like, oh no, you have to do like an awkward sequence with it. Got it. I think this game's more difficult to platinum than the first, but neither of them are hard platinums. But this one is only because it effectively requires you to do 2 playthroughs. Because of you're very unlikely to hit rank 10 with everyone in 1 playthrough. Sinead's my favourite. Fair enough. She's like the first girl you meet, right? Like the very shy, nerdy girl with the glass. That is a complete bean once you get to know her, but at first seems like very distanty. And it's kind of like fangirls on Hina a little bit. I struggle to remember most of the characters' actual names, and it's partially Yuzu's fault for giving everyone nicknames. Because that is, you know, in the first game, and I know she does it in this as well, but they didn't localize it that much. But Yuzu gives literally everyone a nickname of some kind. Even if they already have a small name, she will nickname them. I liked almost all of them. The only character that I felt kind of got brushed to the side was the tennis girl. I feel like after her little character arc comes by, she kind of just vanishes from the universe for like, the entire game. They felt like they just didn't know what to do with her, so she just kind of ceased. She was over there. And some characters do get that as well, but they at least kind of show up here and there every now and then to talk to you. So he's had more screen time, but it felt like she just vanished after that point in the plot. Like she wasn't relevant to anything anymore, so I was kind of like, oh, okay, so she just kind of got forgotten about. Oh, 1v1? Oh wait, I won't be impatient. There we go. I was always kind of hoping Hina gets the 1v1 just because of how ridiculously powerful we discovered she is with 1v1s in the DLC. But she devastates in them for some reason. It's insane how much better she is at them than everyone else. Alright, 2 down in this boss rush. You know, the amount of times we fought these bosses is kind of absurd when you think about it. You know, these collection of bosses with the DLC as well. We have fought these same bosses so many times. Alright, goodbye, Shio's Hardscape. Oh, speaking of Hardscapes, I was looking at some of the other Gust games, and there's been one new Gust release since Blue Reflection Second Light came out, and that was Atelier Sophie 2, which I've talked about before. I've heard great things about Sophie 2 as well, especially with how much of an improvement it apparently is over Sophie 1, because, you know, the Gust formula, it seems. I looked at the store page, there's a DLC dungeon called Heartscape, and I was like, what? What? And I looked into it, and they have a DLC where you run through the whole of Hina's Heartscape, and then you go through Yuzu and Limes, but with the Atelier Sophie cast. And I was like, that's cool, because it's like repaying the favor almost, because this game had, you know, an Atelier Riser reference, so the next Atelier game has a Blue Reflection, like, reference dungeon. I was like, that's really cool. Like, somebody put Atelier Sophie 2 on my radar a lot more just for that alone. But if I was going to do Atelier Sophie 2, I'd want to do Sophie 1. Even if it is, from what I've been told, a clunkier, older Gust game, I'd still want to give it a go. Because as I said before, Gust as a company have been around since the PS1 days, and I did play a number of their PS2 titles, but I couldn't get into them as a kid, because they were very, like, janky and clunky, and some of their games still do have some jank and clunk. I'm gonna say the BR1 bosses stomp these bosses aesthetically. Yes. Yeah, that's one of the things. One of the things that 1 definitely has over 2. The boss aesthetic, the bosses, and the kaiju battles in that as a whole, I loved them. I thought the bosses looked sick as hell. I thought the bosses were super fun when you actually got to those big major stage bosses. The only complaint I had against the major bosses in 1 is because they have multiple phases, you can't, if, like, say they have 40,000 health, and Lime, because Lime can get obscenely overpowered in the late game, Lime says does like 60,000, so, you know, she should really theoretically one-shot it. It won't. You'll realize you've only done like 8,000 damage because you hit the limit of its phase. Like, it has to transition to phase 2, so your damage is capped. And so then I get it, it's to stop you completely skipping phases and whatnot. But at the same time, it's like, god damn it, I just burnt 60,000 damage into this boss, it should be dead. And yet most of my attacks just now were technically worthless because of it. Because yeah, Lime is the game breaker. If you figure out how how to make the most out of Lime's moveset, especially when you start getting her group attacks, some of her group attacks just rip for no reason whatsoever. Like, they do single target max damage for no reason. They just hit like a truck, and you're like, oh, okay. If you put some good buffs in that on top of it, you're set. You will stop one-shotting anything with Lime. It's the same with, I nicknamed it the God Slash. Hina has this one, like a single target thing where she raises her sword up and then slams it down, and the damage is insane, and it partially ignores defense. So I nicknamed it God Slash because it was just this ultimate extra attack that always just seemed to do the work for me. Whilst Yuzu just kind of was my base coverer, like she made sure everything was on top of things, whether we needed extra healing or whether we needed a stat boost, because you can get like an attack buff on someone as well. Like if Lime's already got all those like fragments or something on her to boost all her attacks, and then you have Yuzu use an attack booster on her, like just you win, you know, you win. But so I sort of had Hina be the single target devastator, I had Lime be the group devastator, while Yuzu was the support unit. But because Hina worked as a jack of all trades, she could slot in if there was ever a difficult spot. Because I actually game overed once in BR1, and it was because the boss I went against started the fight by immediately poisoning the team. And the poison, because it was like magnitude or like magnified or something, was doing more damage than any normal attack, like per tick. Like it was ripping us apart, so it just killed me and overwhelmed me insanely fast. Because I wasn't expecting the poison to be that strong, but because he'd been buffed to hell, I guess, it just destroyed me. Everyone seems unbalanced when I saw you max heal everything after each fight. Yeah, it's like the first game does have some balance issues. I think this game as a whole is way more balanced. Even ignoring, or even including, sorry, Death Wish and, you know, the first boss of Death Wish and how all over the place that was. As a whole, I'd say this game is way more balanced than the first. The first is way too easy as a whole, especially if you start spending time with people, because you'll be over leveled. Despite the fact you can't get experience normally, you'll still be over leveled anyway. How does that work? And it'll be the same when I go for Outlive Riser, because that game's so non-linear. I'll be doing so much exploring and whatnot, I'll naturally become pretty over leveled at some parts. But I think that's fair, because Outlive Riser is actually pretty tough if you're not paying attention. Like, it caught me off guard, like how difficult some of the bosses get in Outlive Riser, even in like the mid game. But the general plan for like Gust games, obviously there's going to be other stuff in between. It's just kind of the general idea I'm going for is, after this I'll do Knights of Azure. I don't know if I'll do both of them or just the first one. I'll see how much I end up enjoying the first one. But then after that it'll be more so on the other side of Soul Hackers. It'll be Outlive Riser 1. So I do want to try Atlas Sophie and just kind of go on a bit of an Atelier binge, but we'll see how it goes. And so I might do a Riser 1, Sophie 1, because Sophie is more linear than Riser, and then Riser 2 than Sophie 2, that kind of thing. Just if I go straight from Riser 1 to Riser 2, it might burn me out a little bit just because of the sheer scale of the game, where it's so much bigger. And it will also be interesting as well, because unlike with Blue Reflection, where they're kind of vague on how much time's passed between games, in Riser 2, they make it extremely clear that 3 years have passed. And they do that because they want to show how Riser's grown up from a teen excited for adventure to a young adult who's a little bit more wise of the world and wise of their limits. You know, someone who's a little bit more mature. And so to show that, they make a point of establishing it's been 3 years and she's now a young adult. I was saying, whilst this game it doesn't. We guesstimate it's been around 2 to 3 years, but we have no idea. Here you are, Reina. I still feel like, of all the characters, like the playable characters in the game, I still feel like Reina got left in the dark the most. Because I feel like we went through the first half of the game up to Hiyori a lot quicker than we did the second half. So it still feels like Reina has had the least amount of screen time in combat. And I kind of feel bad about that. And then, like, we had Shio and Coco kind of rock the whole first playthrough. And Reina was kind of around for a bit, and Hina, it's a bit of a stumble start, but now she's found her groove, like she's a master in the team. But it's just like, it feels like Reina's just kind of been there. You know, like it feels like she's been around and she's been helpful, but her healing is awful. And like, everything else is just alright. And I feel bad because like she's such a trooper in the story. Like she is such an impactful character and such a well-written champion of a girl. Just for her to not really be in the fights. But yeah, I am, especially when I realised that Knights of Azure is gothic fantasy, I'm like, well, as a Castlevania fan, I'm immediately more interested. Because that is most Vanias. You'll notice it a lot more when I start Harmony Dissonance tomorrow, that the gothic fantasy really starts to creep into the series as they go on. And they kind of live for it. If the 3D games eventually get remastered on the modern platforms, and I get to cover Lament of Innocence and Curse of Darkness, they are ridiculously gothic fantasy, but I love them for it. I say that Curse of Darkness is really campy as well, in a great way. Like, you know, the main villain is in like latex trousers and he's not wearing a shirt and he's got all these tribal tattoos on him, and you're like, okay, and he's suddenly bending his body in different directions and going like, you can't hope to defeat me. You're like, okay, this game's weird. But you love it anyway. Are you the Devil Forge Master? And what's it to you? I am Trevor Belmont. I ask once more, are you the Devil Forge Master? Indeed I am. Then prepare to die! You're like, okay! This extra got updated and 7 remakers there now. I'm going to finish the ice cream so now. Yeah, fair enough. So the only thing... I have to be kind of wary on how I explain it because I don't want to spoil it. The only thing you got to understand with Remake is, although you can enjoy it on its own, and it's not entirely designed to expect you to have played the original, it does deliberately change things from the original to kind of like catch old players off guard and try and, you know, make it so there's still surprises. And so I'm not necessarily saying you should play the original first. I'm more just saying that the original and remake have separate places and are both enjoyable for different reasons. There's a reason why Remake Part 2 isn't called Remake Part 2, but Rebirth when it comes out, because things are changing, so it's not a straight remake anymore. It has one of the ballsiest endings to a game I have ever seen, considering the legacy of Final Fantasy VII and what they're planning to do with it. It is insanely ballsy on their part what they're deciding to do with Final Fantasy VII Remake moving forward. I'm stupidly excited for it, but at the same time it is like a, whoa, they're doing that? Okay. I think I've explained some of it to you before, but if you're about to get into it, I don't want to let it be too fresh on your mind. Dun, dun, dun. Everything's weak to this. It's like, can you just be weak to that instead so I can get 2 of them and get the extra damage out? And I am still debating whether to go extra or premium. At least for right now, there doesn't look like enough on premium for me to want to get it. For me to like to spend an extra £25 on top of what I'd be spending for the extra. So I might just get PS Extra and like and just for now avoid premium. And maybe if there's more stuff added to it later on, make it feel more worth it, then I'll upgrade. So I was looking at like the extra list and I looked at the premium list, and although there are some things that are BR1's battle theme slaps harder than I thought, yeah. The BR1, and it's one of the things I miss in this game, is that the BR1 has these techno as fuck boss themes, and every single boss has a unique boss theme. If you pay attention when more bosses show up, every single boss has its own unique, like, multi-phased techie theme, and they're great. And it's like going into this game, I wanted to hear more crazy tech tracks, and you kind of don't. They kind of like, they kind of find their groove a bit more in this one, which I like, but at the same time, they kind of don't have these abstract, out there, crazier tracks like the first game did. And I also miss having this game's soundtrack on your phone in this. I think it's a shame that they moved away from that and didn't put the soundtrack anywhere else. And it even stands out compared to like modern Atelier games, because like I don't know about Ryza 2 because I haven't played it, but in Ryza 1 you could craft a jukebox and it would have the whole game's soundtrack on it. Because it was how you could also access music from other games and even replace tracks. You could set like an older Atelier's battle theme as Ryza's battle theme if you wanted to. But then this game has, you know, being able to sprint, has more fleshed out dungeons, has, in my opinion, much better character writing. As a whole, a more enjoyable soundtrack, even if I do miss those tech themes. Oh, and more freedom when you're moving around the school. In the first game, mostly because of that fixed camera angle, it feels very limited at points. Like you can only do so much, and there's only so many things you can do and go. Whilst in this, it feels a lot more open-ended to kind of let yourself feel it out and figure out where you need to go yourself. And it just makes it feel more inviting when you're running around the hub. I always find it funny, like, those three poles at the end there just floating in the sky. Like, okay. I do hope in a third game they go crazier with the dungeon designs. Though, like, I feel like in this game, because they have to be somewhat based on memories but warped, yeah, they're exaggerated, but they're still based on sceneries. Like, it's still like a beach, it's still a city, even if the city design's a bit crazy. I kind of want a third game to be like, not like full-on Psychonauts kind of crazy in the mind world, but more like abstract, if sort of thing, just to be a bit more different, a bit more out there. So they don't need to go full Psychonauts with it, but just a bit more, you sit there and go, whoa, what the hell's this? That kind of idea. Like, we don't need a milkman conspiracy again, but that's just something that makes you think. Speaking of milkman conspiracy, though, if we do the whole going into people's memories or people's minds or whatever again in a third game, let us enter the mind of, like, an actual psychopath. And just see how warped, broken, and absolutely insane the world is when you go in there. I know the game has a common theme of empathy, so it would be a lot harder to do that, but I think it would be really interesting if they could pull that off, how it would work. Or do what Psychonauts 2 did and have a very sensory character's mind, and have it so it's like there's I think it's like the Psy something or other concerts in Psychonauts 2, where the whole point of it is that it's showing off, it's showing to you sensory overload. At the start, everything's pitch black and there's no noise, and then suddenly there's like rainbows everywhere, flashing lights everywhere, really loud music with like millions of different instruments that dances between your ears if you've got headphones on, to such an extent it starts to give you a headache. And then suddenly the main character of that area says, "Shut up!" and it all goes to black again. And you have to very slowly but surely reintroduce all of those elements piece by piece. And it was a really cool level based around sensory deprivation and what can happen when sensory deprivation suddenly gets its senses back, the sensory overload. they could do something with that, like maybe like a very muted character, or maybe like a blind character could show up in another game, and suddenly, maybe it's like they're blind because of an injury, and as that injury starts to heal and they get their sight back, it's too much for them or something, and they get the sensory overload, and it's like how you go through their memories or find everything when it's like that. I'm just kind of spitballing here, I'm aware, but it's just ideas that I've been having of what I'd like to see while still trying to keep this theme of empathy. So I'm kind of like the third game. The first game was a good establisher of the themes and formula, whilst this game was a great execution of those same themes or formula. So for a third game, instead of just doing more of this, reach for the stars. Like, now you've got your formula completely established and it's in a state of where it's really enjoyable and really consistent. Go crazy. See what you can get out of it. Heck, have a character that maybe gets frightened easy, and in their mind it's like a horror level. I'm aware that I pretty much just want anime psychonauts, but I think it would be, if handled right, it could be really fun and still fit into the themes of empathy. Alright, Uta, Yuki, and Yuzu Lime. Dun, 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 dun. And while we're here, we can get that other little scene for going in that very top right corner, which is like one of the very few scenes that isn't that doesn't seem to be missable. That's great. It might be quicker to fight you and just instead of running around. Oh right, mooks. Let's deal with the mooks first. Oops, stopped at the animation. I really should have turned these animations off for this grind. Oh well, too late to bother now. Yeah, and then we're going to jump up the rank 4, because, you know, Aoife recovery speed is great. Because I don't want to rush, but I am really curious what the New Game Plus ending is going to be now we're so close to it. So that's why I'm kind of like, let's just push through it, let's get all the bosses done, let's unlock this final dungeon and see what we get out of it. You know, I wanna see it. Like, I don't want this game to end, but at the same time I want to see how this ends. You know, I want to see, like, what the results of our efforts end up being. Oh, wait. Oh, I did that way too early. Even if only once of which each girl got an overly animated BR1 transformation. Yeah, like they go full like Sailor Moon in the first game. I did miss that in this. Whereas like the clothing flies off, they become a brimming white light, and then like the clothing forms all around them. Like it zooms in on Hina's chest and the bow forms. Like it zooms round to like the back of her waist, but like the rest of it all ties together, and it's like it's so Sailor Moon. And the thing is, they do those animations a couple of times throughout the game. Like it's not just once for each girl in BR1. Later on, there'll be a point. There's like a couple points where it'll give that animation to Hina again, and it will do it again for like Yuzu, or do it again for Lime. And it's like I was like, I get they were still trying to find their identity, which is probably why this game doesn't do it, because it's trying to probably not make itself out to just be the Sailor Moon styled game. and be a bit more than that. But wow, did I feel the comparison in the first. And yeah, I do kind of miss those crazy transformations. It would have been funny to see little Miss Moonshadow over here do like a super overdramatic, like almost toony routine, like she was Fischl from Genshin something, like transformation with it, where she like embraces the gothic edge of her character. Also, once again, why didn't we just climb over this pillar we lifted up? Wouldn't it be safer to try and just go up and over it than go under it? I can't wait to make all these creepier sunflowers go away so we can have all the bright and beautiful ones. Wait, what's the range on you? Okay, so we can go around, I think, for a sec. Just to see this scene over here of Uta remembering something else from her past. Oh, look at this teddy bear. Is this one of Uta's memories too? Yes, I suppose. You got a cutesy side too, huh? I wouldn't have guessed. Not at all. My mother brought it for me on her own accord. But it's still in your hardscape. The hardscape is made from your memories, so the things here must have had some impact on you. Only because I kept seeing them around the house. Of course, of course. I have a position to call Al Moonshadow from now on. I think she would flip if we did. Please don't make any weird assumptions. Like she freaked out when Yuki called her it once. And I've probably bullied enough characters in this game with some of my nicknames. Poor Scruffpot. But it would have been cool to see like Reina embrace her inner anime, because that is like something that's established. It's like she's as much of a nerd as Ao is. She just tries to hide it as much as possible. So it would have been cool to suddenly have her transformation be like extra flashy and extra as well, just for her to like be noticed by the others and kind of go and correct herself, you know. So I mean, you kind of get it with these, but it's obviously not the same. Like Ao gets it. Like Ao gets like special treatment because she's the protagonist, where hers is a little bit more extended because you see it like travel up and down her body a little bit more, and she like rips it open through like cutting through the sky. Because like, she gets more of an animation out of it, whilst everyone else just kind of summons orbs that they transform into. Oh, we should be good. Our ether recovery speed's great. Ow, ow, ow. Oh, that came out quick as hell. Oh, yeah, what's the timing for that? Oh, yeah, I don't know what the timing is at all for the laser beam. And the poor girl got demolished for it. Alright, Uta, here's your bit. As we reach near the end of this boss rush, just 2 more areas. I wonder if that will be enough to twig Uta's scene, or whether we have to actually finish this chapter sequence first. Also, Camo, I think it was just before you joined, but I didn't even really notice it until this stream. You can see the ash at nighttime on the ground floor now. Like, you can see it in the lights. I don't know how well you'll be able to see it in YouTube compression, but you can see the sparkles of the ash where, like, the oasis is very slowly but surely starting to collapse in on itself. Picture Owl's over the top one as her moving behind the portal and appearing as Moonshadow on the other side in like an edgy pose, her wings flare up and less of a silhouette and scythe. Yeah, that'd be sick as hell. Like, kind of like you saw an outline of her in the shadow being like extra dramatic, and maybe like it's like two red dots where her eyes would be in the shadow sort of thing before she bursts through and it's just her. Oh right, I was about to treat this like Rainer's Heartscape. I was about to go all the way over here and then curve round. No, you can just go through. Oh, there we go. I had to load for a second, I think. That is something I'm looking forward to when I get to Riser 2. Riser 2 is currently the only Gust game with a native PlayStation 5 port. I am really curious how noticeable that'll be. Like, if it loads much quicker, if there's like certain little things they put in the trigger, because you know they got unique vibrations and whatnot. I no longer feel safe seeing Ash in my company's safe space. Yeah, I didn't notice it, like up until this stream. But it's like it's just sign of the end, isn't it? That's all it is. It's the signal that you are approaching the end of the road. Oasis isn't going to be solid anymore. It's starting to break away. So that's why you need to face things now. Ouch, okay, enemy hitting hard, give me some heals. Thank you, Raina. Oh, this guy's screwed. We're gonna win this quick. Oh, you're gonna interrupt with a 1v1. That attack was about to come straight in for you and you had to interrupt. Oh, how did I mistime that? I thought I had that. There we go. I had a good rhythm of the 1v1 encounters for a while, and I seem to have lost it a little bit today. I was going to be messing them up a lot more. Alright, Yuki. And there's that shit-eating grin we know and love. Alright, now one more, User in Lime, which is actually right at the entrance, so we should just walk in. Because Owl doesn't have anything in hers. Despite it saying recommended level, there's no enemies in there, your level doesn't matter. It should have said recommended level 0. He probably has a wild transformation scene in the anime. Yeah, I imagine they all do. I imagine Uta. And actually, I take that back. I wonder if Uta's always in her reflector, like, design because of like where she is at that point in the story and whatnot. You know what kind of person she's being. With her power being linked to the Sephira, like, is she always transformed in the anime? Also, we'll get to see what Mio looks like when I would eventually watch the anime, because you get to see her in her reflector costume, I think. Okay, I was waiting to see what this boss was going to do before I committed to anything. Ow. Oh, and I've been poisoned. I just looked at Owl. Like, Owl's got a bit of everything on her. Yuki seems definition of anxiety. Yeah, because it's that heart monitor, isn't it? Not heart monitor, the heart pump even. It's a great track, but at the same time, especially like when you're going through it. Like on the first playthrough, I was so nervous the moment I heard the heart pump, because I gathered like it was probably going to mean that she was dead. You know, unaware that there might have been a way to save her or anything. Like I just assumed that was going to be it. She was just going to be dead, and that was going to be the end, like the end of the twist. But then saying that, I mentioned this in the first playthrough, but there are some areas in this game that once you go through it, the game never again gives you a reason to go back to them, and the most, like, prominent one is the hospital. Once you're done with the hospital, you never, ever have a reason to go back there. And I wonder if that's deliberate, that they put nothing in there because it's, you know, something in the past, it's something that's been, that Yuki has accepted as a part of her, that the fear and anxiety and the confusion that dungeon, that area puts in her mind doesn't affect her anymore, so she has no reason to even be there. Alright, that's everyone's. Alright, build a device that will deliver everyone's emotions to Origin. Uh-oh. What's going on here? What's going on here? What's wrong? Did something happen? Yuki's helping us create our path to Origin. Yuki's fragment does have a faint thread extending from it, but it's a little too weak to use for this device. So Yuzu and I were just discussing how to amplify the connection. They're checking me out. I see. We've been at it for almost an hour. I'm tired. This is just for the good of everyone. Just hang on a little longer. If only there was something we could that could strengthen the connection to Origin. Strengthen the connection? Oh. There might be something that can strengthen the connection. Really? Think about it. After we defeated the antivirus, there were still pieces that remained in the school, right? What if we used them as materials to build the device? The antivirus. It's true that attack was from the world system. It could work. Let's give it a try. So I keep on doing that in the hopes I can trigger the scene now, but I think it's after we do this we can trigger it. There's something about seeing Uta with a hammer just wailing away. Using like the girls with infinite rings, yeah. Alright, here's the device to Final Dungeon Land. We probably are going to finish this game today. Is it finished? Yep. Finally. That took forever. Good work. With this, the preparation should finally be complete. That's right, we're still not at our goal, but we're finally starting to see it. Hina? Yes? There's something we have to tell you. Yuzu and I watch over the common. That won't change in this world or the next. That's why after this world is rebuilt, Here's a thing I wanted to bring up. If they're rebuilding the world from scratch, why don't they rebuild it, but change it so Yuzu and Lime live? Or is it because there has to be someone to protect the common, that they have to stay dead so their spirits continue to be a constant in the common? You know? Because I've said it before, like, one of the main reasons why I think they need a third one is because Yuzu and Lime are still left in the dark after all this. They still don't get to have their happy ending. They're just two dead girls whose spirits occupy the common and keep everything in order now. They don't get to live normal lives despite the fact they were just two teenage girls before everything happened. They've had that robbed from them, and the fact that, you know, Yuki does get to live a normal life after everything that's happened after this game, it feels even more punishing, because it's like Yuzu and Lime are still the only ones left out, and we've seen there is a solution, there is a way of getting around this. I don't know. So maybe in a third game, if we take it straight to World System's door, we might be able to do something to make it so these two can actually have their happy ending for once, instead of always having to say goodbye to them. But we'll wait. Hina, you don't need to say anymore. I already knew the time we had here may as well be a miracle. Another BR1 cast is handling the Ash. I know some of them are in the anime. I don't know if all of them are, but I'm aware some of them are. So you might even be able to get to see them when I eventually get around to the anime. So I know Yuri is. And I think Mao is as well, but I might be wrong on that one. Or whatever her name is. I always think the mean girl. I always forget her name. I know it starts with an M. Yeah, time it may be a miracle. Hinako, Yuzu Lime, are you? Please, Al. Let us be like we were, just for a little while. If you say so, Hinako. Thanks. It will be fine. Even if I lose my memory, the two of you will always live on in my heart. I'll never be lonely as long as I have them. Everyone is trying to be optimistic. I want to keep smiling to the end. Yeah. Got it. Because like, it feels like everyone's gonna get a happy ending except the OG trio. And that's why it kind of kicks me more. It's like, I want something to work out for them, for once. Instead of it always having to say goodbye. There's the end, huh? Final chapter, end of summer. This is it. Yeah. Alright, I'll explain the process one last time. I will offer all of our fragments to this device. Then, we will focus all of our feelings into a single thought of rebuilding our world. Finally, using Yuki's power, we will deliver it to Origin. All we can do is pray and believe. Right, it's more or less the same as when we opened Owl's Heart's Gate. But this time, we need to think about the old world. Think about our peaceful, uneventful, everyday lives. Crazy theory, Yuzu and Lime would be our three villains, anti-heroes. Maybe they could be like, if the world system, because the world system's aware of these two. I think that was established near the end of the first game. The world system is absolutely at least aware of these two. If the world system manipulated or tried to influence or control these two to turn against us, that could be interesting. I think it would be a bit of a hard sell to try and turn these two around to be natural villains, but I think if they were manipulated or forced to be villains, it could be an interesting conflict, especially if you end up having to fight them, because it's kind of surprising to me that we haven't had a boss fight against a Reflector in this series. Because I thought that was what was going to happen on the first playthrough of this. When they established that Uta was a villain, remember I was talking about, oh, what if she's the main villain in this? What if we're going to fight her later on? And we never did. We only ever fight monsters. I think it'd be interesting to have to fight a reflector to see them use those powers you're used to straight back at you. To make it like a real dancing game of like properties and the rock paper scissors of the elements and everything. Just to, I think it could be a really fun fight if done well. Especially if you have to fight both of them at once. So like, oh god. All right then, let's get started. Shio focusing so hard. Look at her. This is... Did it work? I don't. Our emotions aren't reaching origin. That can't be! We failed. Was it my fault? No. We were able to open the pathway. Our emotions aren't unified. The small doubts, uncertainties, and insecurities we all feel are pointing us in different directions. It'd be dope. It's like how the best fights in Persona against other Persona users. Imagine seeing them use their skills in BR1. Oh, absolutely. Yeah, Lime would be terrifying. If her bear suddenly got super huge and like jumped up into the sky, I'll be like, oh no, it's gonna turn into a meteorite. Oh no, it's gonna do like 30,000 damage to over. Oh no, here it comes. You know, like, you know. I think it would be super cool. So if they do it right, it could be super cool and super satisfying if they did make them use their BR1 attacks, because you would recognize them. It would be a nice little like fan service wink in the fight if you recognize the attacks. That's why the emotions didn't reach origin. Doubts, uncertainties, insecurities. I thought we'd made up our minds. Because I actually, to jump the gun, do that in 7 Remake. In the original 7, Sephiroth had this infamous attack called Supernova. In Remake, when you fight him, there's a point where he starts up Supernova, and it doesn't tell you what the attack is called. You can just recognize the animation, and then the camera pans to Sephiroth, and he just turns his head to you and grins. It's like he knows what he's doing, you know what he's doing. The game doesn't have to tell you what he's doing, because if you played the original, you recognize that fucking attack. I just remember that bit and just being like, oh, those cheeky bastards. To not only have the gall to like reference this infamous attack from the original game, but to have the main villain grin at you, to like smugly grin at you like he fucking knows. Like, I was like, I remember that, and I was just like, okay. It's nobody's fault. No one has complete and total control over their own heart. Morning, John. I'm good. Hope you're doing well too. I'm sure even I have some worries of my own. Do you think Yuzu and Lime are stronger reflectors than anyone else? They're strong, but I don't think they're the strongest. Because once they stop, they keep in mind, after the events of the first game, they didn't fight once since. They haven't been in a battle at all this game. This game is potentially a couple, maybe 3 or so years later. They might have the potential to be the most powerful reflectors by their nature of, you know, literally living in the common and living in this alternate realm. But they're not now. You know, they haven't experienced conflict that they've been a part of for years. They would be extremely rusty. And also, like, you know, the reflector involves, like, you know, the power of the empathy, the power of the soul and whatnot, and both these girls are technically dead. It's the same reason why Yuki doesn't have a reflector. Like a reflector costume, reflector power. Because their soul technically isn't all there. It's the same reason why Hirahara doesn't, because her soul is linked to the divine. She doesn't have access to the divine, so her soul isn't complete. It's the same reason Mio doesn't, because her fragment, her own spirit, was shattered and is being shared with Hiyori. And the same reason Uta doesn't, because she literally has a different personality that was removed from her. All of them are missing something involving their soul, whilst Yuzu and Lime are the most direct, because, you know, they're literally dead. They're literally just spirits. so they might not be able to fight as a reflector properly anymore, which is why I think if they were manipulated and controlled by the world system, it could be like a false suit, if that makes sense. Like a false reflector power that's not quite theirs, but it's got some of theirs in there with it. Because the only reason they had a reflector costume in the first game was because of their spiritual link to Hina. What do we do? It would be no problem if we could just resolve these things, but these are matters of the heart after all. On the other hand, if we're able to get our emotions in line, he may be able to communicate with Origin. That may be true, but still. I have my doubts, and I'm sure I have to face them too. Hey, Lime, Yuzu, what's the situation in here like right now? We offered our emotions to Origin, but the process was interrupted. It's almost as if our emotions hit a snag somewhere along the way. Then, what if we went inside directly and corrected the flow? What? There's no telling what could happen if we did that. Well, it wouldn't be the first time. Besides, getting my fragment taken out was a lot scarier. Yeah, literally, we told Ao, hey, at least if anyone has any doubts, you will just die, because we're removing your soul for a minute. And everyone else's souls need to be powering your body for a bit until we get it back. Yeah, when you put it that way... I've been watching you all for a long time. I know you're not the kind of people who can be broken by something like this. Give me 1 second, I'll go get the doorbell. Right, I'm back. I'm sure these doubts are really minor things. I think we just need a little push. So, who wants to try this one last time? I've made up my mind. I'll stick with Al. Fine, bring it on! Yuzu, I don't really like talk about the actual Japanese voice cast that much in this game. But Yuzu is so adorable. Like, her actress has got like the most adorable voice for her. Like, every time she speaks, I'm just like, okay, this bean. It's like, I've talked about it a little bit because I think Reina's actress does a phenomenal job with selling her passion and commitment. I think Yuki's does a phenomenal job of like the emotion and like the anxieties and doubts she has. I think Ao is a very charming protagonist and her voice does it really well. So Hina in her prime's the strongest since she beat Darth? Yeah, I'd say so. She literally defeated God. I'd say Ao in her prime because Ao, you know, defeats Origin. So they've both defeated a god of some kind. They're both on level playing field, and potentially Ao might have even surpassed Hina because actually no, I take that back. I was about to say because Ao makes it a 1v1 against the final boss in this game. So she even does it alone. But then so technically does Hina to an extent because she reflects staff and it plays out this super fancy animation of her doing so. So both of them have taken on a god and done some of it alone at some point. So I think both Ao and Hina are extremely strong. Which one of them's stronger now, who fucking knows. But Hina in her prime and Ao in their prime are both amazing in terms of what they can do and how powerful they actually are. What about the rest of you? Oh, and to finish my conversation on the voice actresses, and I think Uto also does a really good job of emphasizing her confusion and lack of understanding, but then also like voicing her growth as she starts to find her own way and figure things out and learn her emotions. Hang on 1 second. If that's what our leader has decided, I'll just have to trust her. That's right, trust within a team is important. I made it this far with Al. I'm not about to give up on her now. Thank you, everyone. Let's do this. Go to the structure. Before we do that, we need to go see... Okay. Go see what's going on. I just got a text from my mother. It's slightly worrying. We got, like... I say slightly worrying. It's not really. We get, like, like a maintenance check for our gas and electric and whatnot every now and then. I didn't know the gas man was coming today, and at some point he's going to need to, investigate every room, including this room. So if he's supposed to be any time between now and 2, so when that happens, I might have to pause for like a couple minutes or something. We'll see how it goes. But we'll figure that out when we get to it. It might be like 2 he arrives, in which case I think we'll probably be done by then, but still. Ow, there's something I'd like to speak to you about. Uta, what's with the long face? There's something that's been bothering me. I feel like you're the only person I can talk to about it. Do you mind? Of course not. A sunflower field? Yes, I thought this would be a good place to talk. Sunflowers, they remind Uta of her grandmother. As I'm sure you've noticed while in my heartscape, I've always had trouble relating to others. Before I regained my memory, I felt a strange flutter in my heart whenever I saw this field of sunflowers. I had always wondered why, but I never would have guessed I had such a close connection with them. Your grandmother planted them for you, didn't she? That's right. She mistakenly thought I liked sunflowers, and she often talked about them. My grandmother would always assume things about me, never asking my opinion while she fussed all over me. I know what you mean. My parents always nag me and misunderstand the weirdest things. Like if I say I'd like something they cooked, I end up eating it for days, for months. Is that normal? But I was so annoyed with my grandmother that I avoided visiting her all the way until her death. The only time I visited after that was for the funeral. When I arrived, sunflowers had bloomed everywhere. So that's when what we saw in your heartscape. That's right. They weren't always there. My grandmother planted them herself. I see. My grandmother must have wanted to make Uta happy when she planted them. She must have worked long and hard to grow that many sunflowers. I'm sure she loved Uta a lot, but when I saw those flowers, and every time I remember it, my heart flutters. I've been unable to understand just what these emotions are. I want to know what it is I'm feeling. How can I help Uta understand how her grandmother felt about her? I don't think just telling her would do any good. It would be no different from just forcing my own opinion on her. How can I help her? Oh, I'm sorry. This is a bother, isn't it? Not at all. I'm glad that you feel you can talk about this stuff with me. It makes me feel like you trust me. I know you'll learn what that feeling is one day. I'll be there to help every step of the way. Ow, thank you very much. What a pathetic answer I gave her. I'm the worst. Oh, the stage. The music of the PA system? Having music play faintly in the background like this feels classy. Uta, do you prefer listening to music over speakers, or are you more of a headphones kind of girl? Headphones, I'd say. I want to make out all the intricacies of the music. I forgot about the stage entirely. I get that. And playing music over speakers might bother the people around you. But speakers have this special oomph to them that's hard to pass up. Makes me wonder, have you ever been to a concert, Uta? Have I? Unfortunately, I don't believe I have. That's unfortunate. When you get back to our world, you definitely got to go see one. You feel the music in your whole body, the beat thumping in your chest, pounding in your head. Is that fun? And I'm not very good with crowds. In that case, why don't you try getting used to it now so you're ready for when you go back? Yeah, I'd enjoy it if it was with you, Al. Alright, let's build a concert venue then. At BR3 as Yuzu and Lime join you for the final fight, and everyone gets a turn against them somehow with Yuzu, Lime, and Aohina getting the final blow as a team attack. That would be dope. It feels like, for me, the biggest thing I want isn't in the combat, it's in the spice of life side of things. I loved that, unlike a lot of other stories, we didn't have to wait till the credits to see Yuki and Reina couple up. I loved that, because we got to actually see them function as a couple. I want to see them, like, a few years, you know, when they've been living together for a while, like, the comfort that they've now made between each other. Like, I want to see that kind of thing. I want to see, like, the spice of life now they're more mature and, like, you know, they found their rhythm in life and what they've been up to. Like, do they do different jobs? Like, if they moved somewhere together, if they've gone on holidays. I want to see the cast, how they've grown and matured. It's part of the reason why I'm excited for Riser 2, because to see how that, the first game's cast, ended up growing up and going into the second. So this is a stage. We can see the entire venue from here. It's smaller than the real thing, but it still feels nerve-wracking to be up here. A huge crowd of people would gather in those seats to watch the show. I don't know if I'd be able to calm down enough to enjoy it. You want to try having a mini concert with everyone? You can have the others put on a recital and watch it together. Like this. I think I might be able to relax and enjoy my first concert this way. And that unlocks a date. Full development. I want to put the crate back over. Oh, no. I need to do the date first, then I'll put the crate back over it so we can get that attack boost. Oh, Yuki wants to go check it out as well. Alright, Yuki. Date Mageddon never ends. This is it, I'm so nervous. Yeah, let's go. Today is the day of the concert. What concert? Don't worry about that, let's head to the concert venue. How's everyone feeling tonight? Yeah! Thank you all for coming to my show. Ooh, is this what you were going for? Hey, don't call me out like that. Come on, you have to play along. I think you're playing enough for the both of us, Yuki. Having fun is the most important thing in life. You can't let embarrassment get in the way of that. Is that so? Oh, that reminds me. Come on up, Al. The view from up here is pretty great. May I have this dance, Al? I don't dance. I don't dance. Oh, it's okay. No one's watching. Come on, join me. Okay. I might beat. How was it, Al? A little embarrassing, to be honest. Really? I don't know. You were so shy, Al. What's wrong with that? I'm not as graceful as you. No need to get so worked up. You're adorable. You really are meant for the stage, Yuki. You look like you were shining while you were up there. You really think so? I wonder if I could become a pop star. Definitely not impossible. And Uta is... I'm going to trigger a rank 10. God damn it, we'll have to take Uta on that date later. We'll have to trigger it later. We got something else more important now. Would you like to go to the courtyard with me, Al? Sure, let's go. Thank you for listening to my complaining the other day. Don't worry about it, I'm just sorry I wasn't much help. That's not true. You were right when you said it was important to talk about my emotions. I feel like I'm able to understand them a bit better when I talk with you like this. That's great, I'm glad I could help. Also, I have a favour to ask. May I hold your hand again? Did you want to see how I react again? No, I just wanted to try holding your hand again. Okay, sure. It's warm. Yeah. She never shows it, but I don't think those sunflowers are ever very far from Uta's thoughts. I don't know how to help Uta understand how her grandmother felt. I don't even know what it is she felt when she saw those flowers. I wonder what it was like looking on a giant field of flowers. And I wonder what it is that she's feeling now. Uta's not broken. She's a person with a heart and feelings of her own. I think that no one was willing to really try and understand her. Huh? It's my favourite line. I feel like I'm only ever thinking about Uta recently. I wonder why. I must be very worried about her. Shut the fuck up, Al. You love her. Just admit it. Just accept it. Something the matter, Uta? What were you thinking about? I've never seen you make that expression before. Oh, really? I just got a bit lost in my thoughts. Did I look upset? I noticed that holding your hand makes me feel quite strange recently. It makes me feel like I want to know you better. Perhaps that's why. When I saw you look upset, I wanted to know how you were feeling. Uta wants to know how I feel when I look sad? Does that mean... Uta, sorry to worry you. Was that worry I felt? Actually, I have an idea. Not sure if it'll lead anywhere, though. Let's go to your heartscape, Uta. Let's change... Hang on. This back... Me want attack boost. Unless the... No, it'd be set effects. I said, unless the new thing we put down, the stage, benefits us in a more superior way, then attack plus 10%. Okay, it's not in here, full stop. Wake up, Al, the girl's in love. Yeah, you're... Fine, let's put the container back on. Let's get that attack boost. Just make sure that is the... Yeah, this is the stage. Oh, no, hang on. We never saw Uta's stage. Hang on, I completely forgot. We never did that. Hang on. I need to go see that first. I got interrupted because you're, you know, the rank 10 startup. Uta, let's go to the stage before I put it away for the attack boost. Oh my god, how many talking points do you need? I know a little secret, and that is... Today's dessert is going to be cream puffs. Ooh. And so, I believe it's our duty to carry out some taste tests. You're going to get in trouble again. It'll be fine. They're making a bunch. I'm sure they won't count each and every one. Besides, they taste better this way. Does that even... Is it good? It's delicious. See? These two are so fucking cute. These two. Signs like this tell you not to do something just makes me want to do it even more. Like, I know it'll get me in trouble, but still. Do you mean we can store our stuff in an awkward container now our weapons are more lethal? Yeah, that's exactly what it is. We put all our supplies in there so we know where to find them to sharpen our weapons. That's my headcanon. Do you mean... Things like that. Hey, what was that? I've seen you do this to the other girls and get yelled at by them. I was wondering if you do things like that because you know they'll yell at you. I think I now understand the feeling of wanting to do something you aren't supposed to. I may have taught her something I shouldn't have. Is that a people scene at the gate? I have to check that one out. Oh, we're going up to the roof. Oh, all those storage. Yeah, I'm just going to walk there. That's a long walk. Oh, Harry. I forgot Harry, the shark head. Oh, look at this. A shark? Oh, she didn't get scared. You're not afraid? It's not a real shark. Is there anything that does scare you, Uta? Well, she's really thinking about it. There are times when we're all talking that I feel distant from everybody else, even though I'm right next to them. When that happens, I may feel a little scared. The compassion you show me at those times helps a lot. Oh, Uta. Oh, Uta. Actually, I think that's that people scene that was on the minimap is go to Uta's Heartscape scene. People who perform at places like this are so cool. I want to hear a big crowd calling my name someday too. You have an interest in performing, Al? I'll say no way, 'cause I think I said of course I'll say no way, I'd be so nervous. Besides, I can't play any instruments or sing. I've heard many shy performers have to pretend to be another person to get on stage. Interesting. You should know a lot, Uta. I believe my old self used to read often in an attempt to understand herself. I think I'd be able to pretend to be another person, but I was interested in playing music. I'm not super knowledgeable, but what kind of music do you like, Uta? What kind? That's difficult to answer. I always liked songs that made me feel like it was okay to be myself. I think it's okay to be yourself no matter what. If I had known you back then... No, never mind. What kind of music do you like, Al? Yeah, she's like, if she had known Al when she was younger, she might not have gone down the road she did. I'll say classical, so I think I said anime music last time. If I decided on my own one genre, classical, I think. It just feels so majestic. Majestic? Then do you prefer symphonic arrangements over something like a quartet? I was lying. I'm sorry, I don't know anything about classical music. What do you mean? The only classical music I know is stuff that shows up in anime. But you do like those songs, correct? I think that's all that matters. I guess. I feel like I'm in my own world, and what I like is pretty small. In that respect, we're not so different. I'm sure my world is even smaller than yours. But this is the first time I've ever spoken to someone about what music I like. I had never really thought about it much before. Talking about things I like it's fun. Oh, speaking of... I'd love to hear your favourite song. Unfortunately, the old me had no interest in the names of songs. I have no idea what it's called. Let's take a look around the school. We may not be able to find that specific song, but we may find others you like. I bet there's a song hiding somewhere here that you used to like. This is the world made up of our emotions and memories, after all. That may be true. But why would you... No, I'm happy that you've taken an interest in me. It's embarrassing when you say it like that. If I ever find a song like that, I'd love to hear what you think of it. Now we're going to put the storage crate in here. I keep on pressing this. I don't know why I keep on pressing that button. To get to school development, I need to do this and the container. Yeah, give me my attack boost back. Alright, let's go see. Let's go see our wife's rank 10 event. Oh, I'll go get that first and then we'll go see it. Again, I want to ride again. Again, Mum. Go right ahead, dear. Have fun. Yay! Thanks, Mum. I kind of wish in NG Plus, all of those scenes didn't say, like, this girl, that girl, and instead said their names. Just so you could get that kind of answer now of who they're actually referring to in all those scenes. Dun, 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 dun. Right, leave me be, enemies. I just want to get... It'd be cool if the gym had unused facilities pile up inside. Yeah, I guess because like the fact that there's a DLC facility and whatnot, they didn't know if they were going to do more later on when the game was about to come out and whatnot, so they probably weren't going to do something like that. But it would have been nice to be able to have something build up around the place and whatnot. Even if it's just like big boxes in the gym to represent stuff, you know? So I remember rightly, in Riser 1, like, as the game goes on, Riser's Atelier Den starts to get more things in it. And so it would have been nice to have that kind of sense of progression where like little things outside the facilities would show up in places around the school. Other than, you know, the ash. It's kind of what I was hoping for after we fixed the roof, that there'd be other points where maybe we have to repair things in a creative ways, or build on top of things in certain ways, or things like that, and it just ended up not happening. Rita just gave me the stream notification. Lucky I know your start time. Yeah, I mean, I don't have an exact start time, but I always try and make it around-ish, anywhere between like 8:30-ish to like 10 at the latest in UK time. But yeah, YouTube notifications have always been a janky one. Oh my... You can see the transformations kind of starting to happen in the scenery before you even get there. They weren't this blurry when we were here before. Alright, let's see like one of the cutest fucking scenes in this game next to the Yuki Reina scenes. I kind of don't want to talk over this.
おばあちゃんはね、ずっとこれをあなたに見てほしかったのよ。きっとあなたの心に残るからって。やっぱりわけわからない。これは祖母のお葬式の日の記憶。母は一面のひまわり畑を私に示して、私にこう言ったんです。でも私には全く理解できなくて。
こうしてウタさんの心に存在してるってことは、きっと何かが心に残ったんだと思うんだ。わ
かりません。
ね、よく見てみて。このひまわり畑ってすごく広いよね。きっとここまで大きくするのってすごく時間もかかったし、大変だったと思うんだ。
それはそうだと思います。
おばあさんはウタさんに喜んでもらいたくて、ウタさんを思いながら畑を作っていったんだよ。
でもひまわりが好きだというのは祖母の勘違いでした。
うん、勘違いかもしれない。でもさ、おばあさんはウタさんが大好きだったんだよ。ウタさんがこれを見て笑って幸せになってほしいって思ってたんだと思うんだ。
笑って幸せに。
おばあさんのこと嫌いなままでもいいからさ、その思いは理解してあげてほしいな。
分かったことがあります。
何？
星崎さんの手は温かいということです。
え？
こうしてつなぐと私の心を騒がしく不思議な気持ちにしてくれる、そんな手です。ひまわり畑みたいです。
つまり？
She loves you, you moron!
大丈夫です。 けわからない。大丈夫。いつかわかるから。やっぱりひまわり畑と同じ。今感じている思いがあなたから伝わってきたものなのか、自分から生まれたものなのか、それは私には分かりません。でもあなたから伝わってきたものなら嬉しいです。
どんな思い？
自分で言ったじゃないですか。
ちゃんと
God damn it, Al. In the next game, these two, I'm gonna make sure these two get married if it fucking kills me.
あったかいね。
はい、暖かいです。
Yeah, this a very controlled and effective scene. The only part of it that hurts is Owl's goddamn blindness. Like, we just did all that conversation about like the topic of love and the significance of it, and Uta literally spells it out for her. That the feelings of love that she must have for her grandmother is the same feeling she gets in her chest when she thinks of Owl. And she would love for it to be Owl is the reason why she feels these things. She's literally spelling it out to you, Owl, that she's in love with you, and she hopes that one day you can be like the source of all her happiness. Take the fucking hint. Take the hint. Please. But literally, you'd be standing there shouting, "Kiss her already!" You know? Let's check these last fragments we got. And I'm going to save on a different file. So then I've got this free access before we go into the final dungeon. And then we're going to head into the final dungeon. Okay, 1v1. Instead of falling about, your gear shifts down by 2. And that be it. But it's the fact they make you wait so goddamn long to get that scene. You have to wait until literally the final dungeon is open to get that scene with Uta. Like, what the fuck, you know? But let's go into the final dungeon and start this insanity. Oh, where are we? It's just space. The emotions were offered to Origin. They hit a snag along the way and have become empty space. Man, remember when we was just in like a field collecting parts? We were just in like a field collecting parts to repair a roof, and now we're here. We had to put in the words, it's everyone's hardscape. Everyone's hardscape. That must be the form taken by our emotional distress. Yeah, we'll have to take a look at everyone's emotions while we take care of them. If this is a hardscape, leave it to us. Yeah, I remember how everyone else's hardscapes were like. First things first, take a look around. You know the drill. We can always count on the exploration party. Let's go and find everyone's emotions. And I'm going to bring up the group chat. To our new world. The group chat name And this is also the last time we're going to see all those icons in a row. Because as we go through these, more of those icons are going to start going. Okay, let's go. I feel something. This is the fragment I sent out. You mean? Kokoro, touch your pedestal. If you do that, you'll be able to face your own emotions. Okay. Everyone's closures. Are you? Me? Tell me, what am I worried about? Will this really work? If I lose all my memories of this world, will I ever see the others again? That is my worry. I must remember everything that happened here. We spent a lot of time in this world together. We became strong together. The connection that I have with everyone won't be broken so easily. I'm not worried. Really? Yeah. Kokoro, what happened? I gave myself one last push. So these are your emotions. It's a warm glow, isn't it? Kokoro Utsubo has left the group, and so it fucking begins. Kokoro left the group? What happened? It must be a sign that she's ready to leave Oasis and deliver her emotions to Origin. I see. That's actually a little sad. You know what makes it sadder? You can't message Kokoro at all. She's completely off the system. So if you had any side quests with her, I think you've lost them. I think they're gone. I think the moment you enter here, anything you haven't done gets locked out because characters start being unavailable to be contacted. So now we just need to find everyone else's fragments and get our emotions in line. Yeah, then Origin should be able to hear us. I know we can do this. Like, Coco's gone. She's not on, you can't message her. She's gone from the chat entirely. You can't see the conversation or anything. She's just gone. But let's do this. Okay, I'm going to do the same thing I did last time and like just kind of go counterclockwise around everything. I'll fight a couple of the enemies. I'm not going to fight too many, but I'm going to fight a couple. I am curious as well. I will go back and check once we pick it up. Because I didn't on my first playthrough. Even though I think it doesn't mean anything. I think it's just an alternate resource. But there is a unique resource in here. And I just found that strange on the first playthrough. You know? I found that strange on the first playthrough. I thought there might be something to make. Especially if you were potentially able to carry your resources over. Unfortunately you couldn't, which just made it even more mysterious to me. But I imagine it's just a different resource that suits something, you know? Like it's not anything in particular you're expected to make out of it that's unique to the final dungeon. God, Hina took a punishment though. She's already on low health. I know that's not new for her, but still. That blocks off that pass. I need to press it. Get up. Okay. Thank you. And then we should be able to proceed through here. And that way if needs be. So you can't go straight up there yet, if I recall. You have to go like around and then take the wire. Yeah. Oh, and fight a mini boss. It's okay, we can take on anything at this point. At this stage, I don't think we were unstoppable. We got to see this through to the end. Of course you do that right at the start. Why would you do that? Oh, everyone's transforming at the same time, of course. I'm debating whether I should turn the animation off until we get to the final boss, because we're going to see it. There's a few mini bosses we're going to do, so we're going to see it a few times. No, actually, I'll leave it on. It's only going to be for the mini bosses, right? I have to kind of it to myself first, but yeah, I think I'll leave it actually. Now let's put another shield up. Thank you. And this boss should be dead soonish anyway. Even if it's only at half health, their multiplier is going to rinse it. This should kill. Oh, that's absolutely going to kill. If Hiyori doesn't get there first with super attack. Okay, I think the gas person has just arrived, so at some point I'm gonna have to kind of I'll just make it like a break opportunity, because it's just be like a room check sort of thing, so it'll be like 3-4 minutes at most. Just when they actually get to my room sort of thing, just have to kind of mute up and move my wires up the way. So I'll just leave it running and it'll just make it like a 3 or 4 minute break sort of thing. As we go to Reina's, the ash was the thing that first brought Yuki and I together, wasn't it? In a world without ash, will I ever meet Yuki? Why gamble everything when we can live here happily? I know you understand what I'm saying. That certainly does sound like me. But I'm not worried about never meeting Yuki. I know I'll meet her. This plan will work. That's why I chose to be here. Don't underestimate Yuki and me. Goodbye, Reina. Also, Hiyori's upper body strength is inhumane for her to do that. Dang it, I was trying to squeeze through. The enemy had other plans. No, no. You don't get to just fly by me, boy. You come and fight me. Nice. Also, I don't think I need to do anything. I'll just say Hiyori deal that. As we continue to get a shit ton of all the sands. Is it even possible for Origin to understand our emotions? I should know better than anyone. Gods aren't that simple. I know. I know this, but I have chosen my path. I want to see everyone from the old world and from this world. I'm going to the new world with them. Kirara Kuno's left the group. And now we need to go down to get those two. Because I love this dungeon design. I think it's a very effective and fitting final dungeon. But I feel like I struggle to appreciate it that much because I know it means we're at the end of the road. You know? Like, it's like a mental thing. Like, I know it means we're at the end of the journey, and something in the back of my head just goes, you know? And this dungeon is also kind of huge. Look how much running we have to do just to get to one spot. In terms of actual, like, scale of the bricks and everything. Like, it's actually kind of, like, wide and big. Also, do you really need to be on all fours to get under this? This doesn't look like it's that low. You mean to tell me you couldn't just kind of, like, just crouch and use those thighs of yours to get under here safely? And somehow, he already hit her head anyway. Let's be careful. It's actually ending. It's the same thing I get when I finish a Persona game for the first time. Yeah. I'll try not to cry when we get there. Like, I was... Even though I was emotional at the ending on the first run, it didn't hit me that bad because I knew I was about to go through it again. It was just that, you know, that the first experience was gone. But at the end of this, I know it's kind of done. Not just in terms of this game, but the project. You know, at least for the foreseeable. So it's kind of like, it's gonna hit me, I think. I think we'll get to that point when we get there, and it's gonna hit me a little. We are at the end of this journey that took us over 2 months. Of, you know, what's ended up being the longest project on the channel because I did this whole game twice. Do I want to live in a world without them? If I leave this world, I'll probably never see Loser and Lime again. Until maybe the next game if we're lucky. Is that really... My answer hasn't changed. Even if we grow apart and I can't see them again, we'll always be connected. That's why I've decided to keep moving forward. But I'm weak too. Saying it out loud doesn't mean I'm not scared. But it's time to say goodbye. Hinako Shirai's left the group. And it's the fact that they do such a soul-crushing way of wrapping it up. Of everyone one by one leaving the chat group. So there's less and less names here, and they're out of this chat. Like, come on. It's so, like, heart-crushing. And you can see, like, the group chat at the top's getting smaller and smaller. It's like you have all of this from different parts where we were talking to not Lime, and Resource was explaining things, and we could bounce off things, and like right at the start, it's like, what have you done? And it's like, you should not go down to any circumstances. Different world from this one. It's the fact that they slowly but surely, like the most primitive, most core resource you use to contact everyone is what they use to have everyone disconnect. Like, it's extremely fitting, but at the same time it's so painful because you're just seeing it piece by piece. You did BR1 close to this too, so the ending hits harder. Yeah, because it's the end of the journey. I went pretty quickly from the first to this. Like, I didn't really leave much time between them. Despite the fact I intended to give them some breathing room and some time, I just wanted to see where they went in the next one. and what they improved and what they touched upon. But if you go back to the earlier streams of this game, I wasn't expecting this game to affect me the way it did. I went in expecting it to just be a cleaned up version of the first game, and have a lot of the similar and like familiar formulas of that game. So when it started really, like, it was around Rayna's Heartscape where it really started to kind of hit me. I was like, oh, actually, no, this game's kind of special. You know, like you could see where it starts to change and starts to turn. But it still surprises me just how much this game ended up clicking with me. I really wasn't expecting this game to be such a gem. The level of improvement from the first to this is baffling. Like, Gust really outdid themselves with this game, I feel. Yeah, this game still has some weird jank and some weird problems here and there, but the game's got so much heart that I don't care, you know? I don't care that there might be little things here and there that aren't proper or aren't quite what they could have been. I'm having too much of a blast. And I know that the spice of life nature of this game isn't for everyone. That, you know, there are people that want to constantly have it be more engaging and keep moving forward. But I think this game, like, all the spice of life stuff's technically optional anyway, and I think this game does a great job at handling itself with all of that. It's only if you want the true ending in NG+, you need to get someone to rank 10 and view their rank 10 scene, and then pick them in the post-final boss scene to, you know, get that ending. But then even then, if you know that's there, you know what you're going for, you know? It's still, to an extent, pretty optional and pretty, like, different. I remember in your first stream, your biggest praise was more explorable school, and you explored for 30 minutes? Yeah, that makes sense. I was just waddling around, seeing all the sights, seeing where everything is. And I remember loving the fact that the dungeons were actual dungeons with progression through them, and not just little hub spaces you run around and fight enemies in. Because that's what advances. Anytime you're doing a plot thing in a dungeon, it's picking up resources that tend to advance it outside of like a very specific situation. So if you just run around picking up resources, eventually it will just cut to the boss. Oh, for God's sake, I want to get enough charge to put a 2 in place, but I'm not getting it. I hope I've got enough rattan baskets for this. You know, it's not like the DLC ripped 50 of them from me or anything, but I hope we got enough rattan baskets for all this. I still gotta remember it is the final dungeon on Death Wish. It's not going to be completely friendly. And I'm also surprised that despite spending a whole stream just grinding at one point, I think it was like the second stream of Death Wish, I still think we've done this playthrough in less streams than the first playthrough. I guess because I know what I'm doing a bit more, so we've kept it moving a bit quicker. Will you abandon them? All that time spent in the old world, all those important to me, our leader? Is rebuilding the world really what I want? The fact that your first stream you went up to the roof and looked at the stars and said that the stars and graphics were beautiful, even looking is the biggest foreshadow I've ever seen. It was a bit accidental. Things may not be exactly the same in the new world, but the important things will remain. They'll all still be here in my heart. We'll take all the things we love with us to the new world. So don't worry, I'll be fine. We'll all be fine. Okay. Shio Kasuga has left the group. Alright. To the other side we go. As the group chat gets smaller. And to be fair, once I got comfortable, I started fighting enemies far less often, which probably also helps speed things up. Because on the first playthrough, I didn't know if an enemy was going to suddenly drop a resource I was super needed, because, you know, blind playthrough and everything. So I fought pretty much everything, whilst now on this one, I know I really don't need to with most of these enemies, which is why I'm swerving them. With max level, we're pretty set on resources. Outside maybe the rattan baskets if we need to, but I can just use the ether stuff to make more of them if I need to. Oh, we have to backtrack this way anyway, right? Yeah, there's no drop point. You have to backtrack, so we'll just go this way. And we can show off a owl's inhuman fucking strength. How did she do that? How did she pull all that out? And how does Kokoro yeet us all the way up there like this? You know what I mean? Come on. These playthroughs be looked back on these legendary playthroughs, like the SGB's or Heavy Rain playthrough. That is a great fucking honor. That is, thank you. Stop it. That is a huge honor. I love that. Like the old SGB playthroughs, like the Heavy Rain, fucking LA Noire. Jesus Christ. But yeah, I mentioned it in the last stream, but this, I feel like, although I kind of knew where I wanted to do and what I wanted to do to an extent, I feel like the Blue Reflection streams is where I've most kind of found my groove. Like, I know how I kind of want to handle my streams. I know what kind of streamer I want to be and how I want to handle it. Like, I always, even back in Danganronpa, I wanted it to feel more welcoming and more chill. But I feel like I got a better, like, understanding of how I wanted to approach that and how I wanted to be with everything through these. I want it to feel like anyone could hop in and just kind of be cozy, you know, and feel welcome. You know, other than, you know, arseholes, but that's obvious. If you come in here and be a problem, you're not going to feel welcome, but that's different. It's why I let my emotions fly so much. Like, if I'm going to get emotional, I let myself get emotional. It's like the same like in that 1v3 stream. I think it was like the second Danganronpa v3 stream. Near the end of it, like, I really kind of broke down a little bit for like 8 or 9 minutes. Because I was comparing, as my throat goes a little bit. That wasn't me getting emotional. No, that was just my throat going. Although it sounded like it. There was a point where I was comparing a situation to some of the things in my real life and how I reflected and how I felt on it, and it ended up just kind of comparing it to what was happening in V3. It just got to me, and for like a good 8 or 9 minutes, I was just super fucking emotional, and I was just like, well, fuck, like, okay. And to be fair, that's the biggest credit I will give V3. Despite some of my problems with that game, I cried more in V3 than any other game in the series. That game really tugs at your heart at points. Like, Chapter 1 made me cry. You know, the opening goddamn chapter made me tear up, for God's sake. Like, Chapter 4, it was more frustrated tears, but Chapter 4 made me cry. Chapter 5 made me cry, and when I finished Chapter 6, well, to be fair, I was kind of pissed off at the ending as well, but I was still emotional that I was at the end of the journey. Whilst, like, in Dangan 1, I don't think I'd like to think I didn't cry once, at least I can't remember it. And Dangan 2, I think I was upset with some characters' deaths, but I didn't cry. But in V3, like, I ugly cried like several times in that game. Like, that game's ability to get right to your heart is really effective. Like, it knows how to kind of hit where it hurts. Alright, whose is this one again? I forget whose is whose of all these. This is Uta. This could be our chance to create our ideal world, you know. That's not a bad idea. Right, I knew I'd see things my way. We're going to rebuild a world overflowing with love and dreams and kindness, and all the other things I used to hate. Well, you better do it well. What do you mean? We're in this together. Uta Komagawa has left the group. But I can't be like, I can't just be like, oh yeah, this is the game where I found my groove. Yeah, this game just, you did that. No. the only reason it went like this is because the writing of this game is so good. I felt so connected to the characters that I just stopped kind of caring about the details. I just wanted to kind of just rock it out and see what this game does and see where it goes. And it kind of encouraged me to kind of do the same with everything I cover now, so that I feel more comfortable with what kind of streamer I want to be and how I want to take things by doing this. And, you know, I have an entire company now that's gained a fan that I want to play more of their games of. Like, I want to play more of Gust's games, because it feels like it's like... And so I have to keep saying this, this wasn't my first rodeo with Gust, and I did enjoy Ryza, but I had a long history with Gust in the PS2 era of trying some of their games and just never clicking with any of them. They just weren't my cup of tea. And I know a lot of it was just the jank and clunkiness of the company at the time, and they've obviously found their groove a lot more since then. But I just always struggled with them, and Ryza I treated as the one-off because I knew they did very different things with that, and it was a much bigger budget thing. Whilst now, I'm more prepared to give some of their jankier older things another shot. So I think even, like, keep in mind I was a kid when I played those games, so if there was a problem in the gameplay that I felt immediately, it would probably put me straight off it because, you know, I'm a kid. So maybe some of that jank I might be able to look past a lot easier if I do go back to some of those older games and try them out. As we get to the Hirahara Sisters. Uta is our enemy! Have you forgotten how much pain she caused everyone? Are you sure you can trust Uta Kamigawa's information? It might be a trick. Maybe it's all a lie, and Uta is trying to manipulate us to save herself. If we only look to the past, we'll never be able to move forward. We may not be able to change the past, but we can see who Uta is now. And moving forward together with everyone. Hiyori Hirahara and Mio Hirahara have left the group. So that just leaves Yuki and then Yuzu and Lime. So then Al's all alone in this supposed group chat. Oh, you have to go all the way around, don't you? Yeah, you have to go all the way around. Actually, can I link to that ladder? No, that's in a different spot to where we are. Actually, it'd probably be quicker to warp out of it and come back in. Let's do that. I know it'll reset the fancy animation and everything, but still, it'd just be quicker to do this. Oh yeah, whilst we're here, I know we're not going to get anywhere with it, but just for shits and giggles, one last time, let's click on 2A. Nope. So we're going back to this school, and there are still a few rooms we never got to see. How sad. So yeah, so that will forever be the secret. Speaking of like SGB though, have you seen at some point Johnny's been going through the Ratchet and Clank games? I am curious to see what he thinks of 3 and Deadlocked. Because he liked the open-ended adventureness of 1 and 2, and 3 was infamously a super rushed game, and so, oh, we have to connect this bridge first. And so they made it like a third-person like a linear third-person shooter, and I really didn't like Ratchet and Clank 3 when I played it as a kid, because of it. I felt like it was such a step down compared to the others. But, despite that, Deadlocked is also a third-person shooter. But unlike 3, it wasn't rushed, so they completely leaned into what they were comfortable is. But they completely leaned into it and made it a really fun, crazy game. And it was also the last one to have commentary on the industry. Because starting with the PS3 games, they started making Ratchet the very thing the franchise was taking the piss out of, and started making him like a marketable, cute protagonist. With the reboot being the biggest example of that. The reboot went for making him like a super cutesy, like fun-going, lovely, like fluffy protagonist type, whilst he was like an attitude arsehole in the original games, who was always fighting against the system and didn't want to be commercialized. Like, it's kind of painfully ironic how it's turned around now. But Deadlocked was the one that went the hardest on its political commentary. Well, not political, it's commercial commentary, sorry. Don't you know how dangerous this is? Let's just stay in Oasis forever. We may not know how much longer this world will last, but at least it can be with everyone. Ao, Coco, Yuki, Reina, Shiochi. I love Yuzu's nicknames. Kirachi, Uchi, Hiyori, and Mio Mio. It would be so much better if we could stay together. Yeah, let's stay here forever. I don't want to be lonely. Hina. Won't you be lonely, Lime? Of course, I'll never see them again. But I have you, Yuzu. I have you too. And that's enough for their closure. Yeah, Yuzuki Shinjo and Raimu Shinjo, which they localized to Lime Shinjo, has left the group. But I get it. Raimu is it's an awkward fucking word. It's an awkward name, and so like, and Lime was more of a nickname, and so I get that the localization they kind of just shifted it over in this because it was such an awkward name with an awkward wording and handling. Like, what else were they supposed to do to try and get around it? Alright, last one, and we already know who's this going to be. We've ended up saving Yuki till last. Deadlock was Gladiator. Yeah, it's Gladiator in UK and Australian territories. I was thinking things are cracking time. My favourite Ratchet next to 2. Yeah, I'd really like to. I think of the OG 4, it goes 2, Deadlocked, 1, 3. I said I just really didn't click with 3. I didn't like all of the commercial commentary that was in 1 and 2 vanished in 3, and it suddenly turned into the most generic like stop the bad guy game ever. Also, this is cute that everyone gets involved in this last push. I love that little bit. It's a tiny things, you know, but that's adorable as fuck that everyone joins in to push that through. But yeah, I think it was to do with because at least in the UK, or at least in the European version of the game, is some of the namings the European Ratings Board didn't like. They either felt they were too aggressive, or more accurately, some of them were too suggestive. Because you know how Ratchet and Clank have a bit of a thing with some of their games having kind of suggestive, questionable names. Well, I'll say Rift Apart. If you look at some of the history of it, Rift Apart was originally going to have. I'm going to wait for the enemy to turn around. Was originally going to have a really suggestive name as well, but it got turned down by the ratings board, so they had to change it to Rift Apart. Like, it was going to be an arsehole joke. Originally. I can't remember what it was going to be exactly, but it was going to be a butt joke, and they had to change it because it was they considered too suggestive, and the ratings board disagreed with it. So it's a tradition they still uphold to this very day, or at least try to. But I met a lot of their games, like Deadlocked. Maybe that was just seen as too aggressive of a word to put on a box art, so they had to change it, and Gladiator was the next best thing. But then saying that, there's also, you know, like things like Into the Nexus and whatnot, you know, games that clearly aren't making those kind of jokes. So maybe, I wonder if they originally were going to as well, and they got scrapped for naming. So I mean, the second one's called Going Commando, isn't it? Like, see, like they even had the jokes as early as the second title. Loading, okay. I'm also curious when some point with John's going to get back to Castlevania. The last time he covered Castlevania, like nearly 4 years ago it feels like now, he did a poll on the last video saying, when I come back to Vania, would you rather me cover the console games first or the handhelds? And everyone voted for the handhelds. It's like, I want to see what he thinks of Circle of the Moon, Harmony Dissonance, the Sorrow Duology, Portrait of Ruin, and Order of Ecclesia. And it's like, it's been years now. It's like, I hope he gets to it soon. I hope he doesn't forget about it. I know his schedule's kind of packed, but I hope he hasn't forgot about it. I say that, he'll also cover like the old like Game Boy Color Castlevanias and whatnot as well, probably. Not just the Metroidvanias. I'm an anomaly here, remember? I'm dead. It's a miracle that I can be here with everyone. With Reina. And I'm expecting an even greater miracle. If I had just stayed dead, I wouldn't have had to deal with all this. That's pretty tough to deal with, huh? I didn't have to say it like that. Okay, me, listen up. Being able to worry is just proof that I'm alive. Suffering is a part of life. Sometimes it's okay to run away. And now it's not one of those times. Today, I need to face my fears. Just you watch. I'm gonna make you regret bringing me back to life. And now all that's left is Al in the quote-unquote group chat as Yuki Kinjo leaves the group. The one who continues the loop is the only one who stays behind. And unfortunately, now we're at this point, we can confirm that we never did get a unique scene for Al reaching talent rank 10 herself. I was hoping that we'd get a unique scene of like everyone being like, oh, you're such good friends with everyone, because you know, you have to have got close with everyone for it to reach that high. But we never really got it, unfortunately. Brave the final battle. Oh god, we're gonna finish this game. Oh god, we're gonna finish this game within the next hour. We get one more mini boss to kind of be the block in the road before we get to the next zone. Because the next zone's not even that big, if I recall. Ow! Also, that enemy just did half a health in one hit. I am worried how hard the final boss is going to be. I am worried if some of these mini bosses are hitting like trucks. And if it's speaking of Ratchet and Clank, I know I'm jumping from conversation to conversation here, but it's on my mind. It's weird. I heard really good things about Rift Apart, the new one, but then like the game came out, I heard good things, and then people stopped talking about it, and I'm like, what happened? Was it just one of those good but not necessarily memorable, or was it just, am I missing something, or did like the dust settle and people found problems with it? Like, you know what I mean? Like, it just kind of seemingly vanished from any conversation not too long after it came out. And I wonder if James Arnold Taylor is still voicing Ratchet now, because he's been voicing Ratchet since Ratchet and Clank 2, and who's also Tidus in Final Fantasy X, you know, the main character of Final Fantasy X. And yes, I do say Tidus and not Tidus. There's a really fucking weird localization thing. Like, the entire game is a central theme around water. He plays a water sport. He picks up a water sword later on. His name is spelled Tide S. His name is Tidus. Why do they call him Tidus? I will fight that for forever. His name, there's just such a stupid, weird thing with the localization. They called him Tidus instead of Tidus. He absolutely should be Tidus. Alright, final dungeon time. The Heart. Which for some reason has a unique resource in it. And we have no idea why. No loot? Okay, fine, I'll leave. Oh, it's in the corner, okay. Okay, just a Sandmageddon. So yeah, if you're low on sand, you're not going to be by the time you finish this place. And I get why they give you a lot of sand. It's because of the ether stuff. You have the most, like you get the most ether out of sand. So it's literally a convenience thing. So you can just go back and craft whatever you need by using the ether, by burning up the sand as much as you can, as you need to. We never made a Star Smasher. That might be what the resource, that unique resource is for, making a Star Smasher to break that through. God, look how many enemies are here, Jesus. I think even on my first playthrough, I didn't fight all of these guys. I was like, we don't need to, right? God, the music. You know what, that little violin bit that's going on in the background, it reminds me a lot of Mystery Dungeon for some reason. I was getting like huge like waterfall cave, Mystery Dungeon, Time Darkened Sky vibes from that little violin like pit that was in the background a second ago. Like, it's like my head went straight there, like without hesitation. Went straight to Waterfall Cave. And there's the game's main theme creeping in, letting you know once again we are right near the end. I had this in the leitmotif video, this theme. This was one of the ones that I did catch when I was listening through the soundtrack. Because it plays two different variants of it. It doesn't, it's the second variant of it. There's our next mini boss, a reskin of the one of the main bosses. At least it's a cool reskin. I need to turn it down. When I was listening to the dungeon track a second ago, I turned my ear up and I forgot to turn it back down. The headset. Right, put that in place, we don't need to worry about it. Just in case it does a charge up. Oh, good timing. It feels like every time I do that, it baits the charge up attack. Okay, maybe don't die, please. Ooh, 1v1 against. Ow, of course. Ooh, okay, that came out quicker than I was expecting. Oh, what's the timing for that? Owl's about to fucking die, so I need to be careful. She died. Fuck. I got the shield up, that's fine. We just need to kill this thing, hopefully, before it kills us. There we go. Alright, home stretch. The final boss is up there. And if we depress ourselves, we can check the phone one more time to see it's just the group chat that no one's a part of anymore, and the Be Reborn message. Owl's on her own in terms of her existence in Oasis now. Her only hope at freedom is to be remembered and pulled out of the loop. Since, because that's the thing, we are at that point again, we need to talk about it. Cracking Time is going to be called Clockbockers before ratings. Yep. I mean, all of the most Ratchet and Clanks had crazy names that were hyper suggestive. But now we're at the end of the game, we need to talk about the fucking Owl in the loop again. Now we know it, because everyone else is out of the phone except her. It's the cycle of the loop. It's the reason why we did this. It's trying to break her free from it. We've seen the entire loop in motion throughout these two playthroughs now. And the nature of Owl's existence and how she handles everything, it's just going to keep on circling around. And now we're finally at the point, very closely, where we're going to be breaking free of it. I'm going to have to fight one of you guys. Or can you going to let me pass? I just want to get that loot. I'm not sure how I'm going to navigate these two. Come this way. Okay, we're good. I was like, don't turn around, please don't turn around, because I've got the other guy right behind me. Okay. I'm so not ready for this. Let me stack everyone else up. Then I will save at the edge of it on a separate file. So I can still access the original file before I did all this and to talk to people and find things if I need to. As we approach like the final staircase. This is what it feels like. It feels like the final staircase to approach Dracula and Avania. Let me save. Save over in file. Alright, here goes nothing. Death Wish final boss time. I'm gonna have a sip of my water while this plays out. A dead end? Does this mean we've reached the deepest part? What's that? There's something scary about it. This could be the reason our emotions didn't reach origin. What could it be? I'm going to check it out. But it might be dangerous! Gives me Nick's Arena vibes. Yeah, I can see that. I'm going to touch it a little. Lead us to the leader. On floor 300 and whatever. P3. Is this my... I'm the reason? Yep, the many loops. What? This is like representing all the loops she's done. You finally came. Finally, who are you? You already know the answer, but I'll ask anyway. Who are you? Have you found the answer? You're all me? I've met so many people here. I've made so many memories and created bonds with all of them. Those things are that special thing I was looking for. They're my treasures. I am Ao Hoshizaki. I am no one else. And that's all I need to be. Yeah, burn your dread, Ao. Use Armageddon. Are you willing to give up everything you've gained? Huh? A world created from the feeling sent to origin. A world created in the image of the old world. And yet it is the world from which you originate. You belong to the future of the world that will be created. Wait, so that means I'll just go back to my original world? Then I have nothing to worry about. If everyone comes to the world I lived in, then you will never meet them. You should know that better than anyone. You will be reborn and live your life you always known. Normally. Grow up normally. Become a normal student. And then? What? Come to Oasis, rebuild the world, forget everything, and be reborn again. And the process repeats. By doing so, you will ensure a peaceful future for them. But there will be nothing left for you. How many times have I left myself behind now? Are you really me? How do you know all of this? Yeah. It transformed me when I touched it. Something beyond this world. It touches everything in this world. So, if it was there too, as long as I am me, I will always be in contact with it. You are the same, aren't you? So give up, end this. It's the only way you'll ever escape. I won't do it. No matter what happens to me, I'll make sure the others get their future. I won't let you stand in my way. Emotions. Emotions make people behave illogically. The lead humans to break... The lead humans? Is that supposed to be to lead humans to break even the rules they set for themselves? Or they lead? Even the laws of the world aren't without exceptions. Someday, some other emotion may lead to another exception. What are you? Let us begin. Show me the power of those emotions. This is... Yuzu, Lime, is everything okay? I don't know. Back to the school. Yep. Oh god, the blood all over the roof. Where are we? The rooftop. But why? Why are we back here? No, this is different from the normal rooftop. What is this? Oh, what happened? I met the final boss. Fucking... Ow! That's it. Ow! Stop being so meta. The final boss? What is that? That's what's stopping our emotions. Once we defeat it, it'll all be over. Are you all with me? Of course! This thing doesn't stand a chance. We'll beat that thing and the world will be remade. We can do it. Yeah, as long as we're all together, it'll be okay. Everyone. This has happened before. I need to stay focused. I have to fight for what matters, to protect everyone's lives. Yeah, she's a dork, but she's our dork. This really was the best summer vacation ever, wasn't it? Huh? Every day I spent in this world was so much fun. It just felt like summer vacation. But just like summer vacation, it has to end sometime. So that we can see each other at school again. Let's do this. As long as we're together, there's nothing we can't do. Let's go back to our regular lives. It's time for the summer vacation to end. Final boss time. Alright, firstly, the system. This is different from the world system. This is just a system that's in Oasis. 45, 37, 38k. So this is the techie vibe of the soundtrack that like every boss has in the first game. I'm gonna wait, I wanna see what the boss does, if it charges something up before I have our attack. Okay, it's not solid. I can go in. Dun, 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 dun. I need to pay attention to everything. There's the charge up I was waiting for. Crimson Ray. Ow, ow, ow. No, it's Child Above vibes. Yeah. Oh, I forgot. It's really fucking hard to figure out where the attack timing for this is. Oh, I got it. Alright, that's phase one. It's huge! I suppose we should have expected this wouldn't be easy. And it looks pretty dang mad! Yuki. Good, I'm mad too! Now the actual final boss begins. I really want to get Rain on a Rat Basket to get some buffs on us as well. Earth leveler. Let's get that in so we don't have to worry about charge up. As we fight the one who desires the end. Which is a sick name for a boss, by the way. You can charge up all you want, I've already got a shield ready. Ooh, it lowers your defense as well, that's kind of cruel. Oh, there it is. The music. The end. Yeah, we will get him. I don't think this finisher will kill, but it will do. It will hurt a lot, which is all I need right now. Did it kill? Oh shit! There goes that phase. I thought it would still have like a good 10k left. God, the music. Because now it changes name and it becomes the one who severs emotions, and we're reset once more, and it's raining now. Yeah. Ow, 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 ow. Ow, 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 ow. You put as many debuffs on me as you want. That still did fuck all damage. And we got rid of them immediately with the Rattan Basket, so yeah. Oh, he immediately reapplied it, got it. He was like, no, 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 you don't get rid of it that easily. Or is it because it's 2 pages? Oh no, it's 2 pages of buffs, got it. So it's alternating between them, got it. One v one. Oh, okay, that's slightly delayed. Yeah, okay, you got to slightly delay it, got it. Well, so far so good with Death Wish. We seem to be cleaning up house quite quick here. I'm not going to use these ults yet. I'm going to wait, because I don't want to lose my combo count. Look at our combo count already. We're doing 7 times the damage. Yeah, I'd rather keep that combo going and rinse this fucker. He's barely got any left. Alright. And I think one more phase. It still won't go down. We can't give up. We must fight till we can't fight anymore. Only we could fight too. How can we really only sit here and watch? There has to be something we can do. Imagine Hupazaki killing God. Yeah. You're right. There is something. Now this is like the you win phase, because they're going to keep on giving you buffs as we fight the world. Zawarodo. They're going to keep on buffing us as we go. Okay, let us get on that heal for Hina's sake. Holy shit. Put that shield up. Do that. Okay, Yuki's going, please, give them strength. So we're going to get a buff from her soon. Okay, he has it out for Hina. What's it? Support skill. And it's like, this is amazing because it's a huge callback to the first game with the support skills when you fight the bosses. That's why I grinned so much when I first saw it. So I was like, okay, that's cute. They even do like the support skill animation and everything. It's a giant nod to the first game. They remember that they can do that like they can in the first. Ow. Look how quick our health's regenning. We're fine. As Uta comes in. And we get a permanent defense boost. Here's where you auto win is the phase I like to call Purge him Saturn Isle. Yeah, I get what you mean. But it's like this one, I don't think you can lose unless you get like caught unlucky and are just really like really sloppy at this point. But you've got this far, you're not gonna be, you know. But it does feel very much like you've got there, you've won at this point phase. As Mio comes in. And gives us a permanent attack boost. It reminds me more of the Izanami fight. When you get resurrected at the end, and like Izanami throws out like 1,000,001 like over the top, super dramatic extra attacks, and they do like no damage to you. Okay, I timed that miserably. That bastard, he delays so goddamn much. Okay, I'm gonna stop trying that. I'm gonna let that go, because I'm just gonna get out-killed. He delays it for so goddamn long. I was like, and then it wouldn't happen. Finish it, Hina. Boom. Now it's time for the cinematic bit. We're so close. I can't move. Reina, what are you doing? It's the only way. This is how we win. Trying to save you and get dragged down with Rise screaming broke me. Yeah, that was brutal. Everyone, direct your feelings to Ao! Thank you, everyone. I'll end all of this. You can do it, Ao! I finally found something that makes me special. For the first time, I'm afraid to lose something. I'll never let you take it. You won't destroy it. I'll fight to protect everyone's emotions. It's done. Is everyone okay? Yes. Thank goodness we're all okay. Oh, we're at that point. Uh-oh. Yeah. This must be the real rooftop. The device! It stopped. That was with a feeling spirit bomb, yeah. Has the world been rebuilt? At the very least, we were able to consolidate our emotions into one. Then all we can do is wait, it seems. It's time to say goodbye to this world. Ow. Is everything alright? Hey Yuzu, how much longer does Oasis have left? I'm not sure, maybe a day at most? A day, huh? When you think about how long we spent here, a day sure does feel short. Yeah. I want to stay here, right up until the end. It's your choice time. When we get to hopefully see our NG Plus ending. All the time we spent together, all the things we created. I came to really like this world. But this is our last day. Who do I spend it with? It's the last of our time here. Who should I spend it with? Okay. I think it's fitting that we left it on Uta's Heartscape. And the thing is, there's technically nothing stopping you from going back down and going into the Heartscapes. It's just, well, you're not going to be able to access much. Which is why I left that save before we went in. I am curious if you can re-enter. No, you can't. Okay, so you can't re-enter the final dungeon, it's just all the rest. I want to spend it with Uta. Yes. In the end, I come this far and still don't have an answer. Answer for what? What are emotions? What is this fuzzy sensation in my heart? Can I be forgiven? And will the new world have any need for me? Well, I think that would be hard for anyone to answer. Not just you. Is that so? I think there's a place for everyone in this world, though I guess that's easy for me to say. I think the old world was a very hard place to live in for you. Even if I can't totally understand, I think I can at least sympathize. But that won't do. We're all going to the new world together. Huh? I won't let anyone be left behind, says the person who gets left behind. Everyone is going together. Nothing will change the things that happened in the old world. But do you think I can still change? That's something you have to decide yourself. You decide the path you take in the new world, how you'll live. How I'll live? You worried? A little, yes. Then this is what we'll do. If you fail, the others and I will come and stop you as many times as we have to. So you don't need to be afraid of odd failure. Just try not to cause too much trouble, okay? What kind of plan is that? Did I say something weird? Not at all. The fucking typo is creeping at the ending. I understand. I will keep your words close to my heart, Al. What's wrong, Uta? How embarrassing. I never thought I'd say something like that. It's proof that you're starting to change. Do you think so? I hope you're right. Yeah. I don't know if it's possible for someone like me to change, but I'll never stop hoping that in the new world, I'll be a new me. I miss you. I miss you, Al. This is new! This is new! I believe in miracles. This is new! This didn't happen last time! Is that saying that we'll get the reunion now? Is that what that is? Oh! Oh shit! Oh shit! I'm shaking now, uh-oh. Done everything you wanted? Yeah, I think it's time to say goodbye to this world. If it works, we'll be able to return to our peaceful lives, right? You worried, Hiyori? I believe it will work, but I'm still worried. The ash goes away. If it really goes away, I should be able to live. But part of me still isn't sure it's that simple. Yeah, and we'll lose all of our memories from our lives here and in the old world. There's no telling if the world will truly be remade according to our wishes. And there's no guarantee that we'll be able to live the same kind of life in the rebuilt world. There's a chance we may never meet our acquaintances from the old world in the new one. Kirara! If I'm able to continue living in the new world, it would be best for me not to see you all again. How are you still talking like that? Nobody here wants that. I can't help but worry about it. What's on your mind, Al? Oh, I'm a little nervous too, but I'm also hopeful at the same time. Hopeful? How should I put it? I feel uplifted. The sound of cicadas that used to drive me crazy. The same boring walk to and from school every single day. With those stupid supplementary lessons. Something tells me that the world that was always so boring will somehow seem brighter now. That's why I'm looking forward to it. Ow. Yeah, you're right. The world is dying. In the end, it was Owl that saved us. Indeed, Owl is the reason I am who I am now. There's so much we could never have done without her. It doesn't feel that way to me. But it's true. Thank you, Owl. Kokoro. I should be thanking you. Ever since I came here, I've worried about what a normal girl like me could possibly do. I was never cut out to be a leader. I made my fair share of big mistakes because of that. But the reason we're here is thanks to you all. I never would have made it without your support. As I came here and met all of you, learned what you all care about through your memories, felt all of your emotions. I'm a different person than the one that used to spend all of her days in boredom. I wonder if there's anything more I could have done. If there's anything I could have given back to everyone. You gave us a lot, Al. So much more than you could possibly realize. We were all connected here thanks to you. The feelings we got from you are what connects us, what binds us, Al. Everyone. Thank you. This is really the end. Summer vacation was over before I knew it. But our connection is strong. Even if we go back to our daily lives, that fact will never change. That's why I'm not afraid. Yeah. 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 Everyone. Until we meet again. Oh, fuck. And then we have to do the credits before we even see. Yep, we have to do the credits first. Oh, it's actually over. Oh, it was 31 sessions. 31 fucking sessions. That's longer than any Danganronpa project. That's longer than Elden fucking Ring. That's longer than any RPG. It was longer than Fairy Fencer, and that was like so many grindy streams in that. Holy fuck. Like, I don't even know what else can be said. You know, I gave my final thoughts for the most part in the normal ending on the first run. I love this game. This game means so fucking much to me. The characters, the setting, like the interactions, like the message it has, its themes of empathy and understanding. This game is beautiful, you know? Like, this game is so gorgeous. It's so near perfect. A whole month of sessions, 31 days. Yeah. It's just this game's special, you know. This game's special. I'm never going to forget something like this. This one's going like almost like my Hall of Fame of games kind of thing. Like, this game hit me. This game hit me much harder than I ever imagined. Especially coming from the first one. I liked the first one, and the first one certainly got me emotional, but I wasn't expecting this to be such a fucking home run, you know. With its characters. Like, I love every single character. They felt like my friends, you know. I've talked about it many a times before, about how, like, with how I was growing up as a kid, where I was, you know, bullied a lot. My parents fell out a lot, and just, you know, things weren't working out a lot in college. Like, I was in a very abusive relationship in college as well. I very much kept to myself a lot of the time, and my only escapism was video games. And so I treated the characters on screen as my friends more often than real people. I connected, I empathized with them more. So a game around that theming, it's obvious it was going to hit me, but I still was naive to it coming in of how much it would. But this game, I love all of these girls, you know? I genuinely mean that. I love all of them. They're such a phenomenal cast of misfits that come together. Like, as much as we talk about, you know, best girl this, or, you know, Reina being the, like, trooper that she is, all of them are phenomenal characters that are so well written and so enjoyable, that have such beautiful character arcs. It's why I want to see more of them. But at the same time, if we never get a third game, I'll at least be happy with this. You know? Even if I don't get to see these characters again, I'll at least be happy knowing that I got to play this game and I got to know them. Of course, I want there to be a third game, and I think with how well this game did, it almost certainly will at some point. It's just whether it involves this cast or whether it's something entirely different. You know? I hope we get something. I want to see more of these guys just to see what came next. I want there to be like a time skip and see, you know, like maybe Reina and Yuki got married and have got a place together and own a happy life. I want to see what became of Ao once she finally escaped that loop and got to make real memories in the real world, instead of all the fake memories that Origin was putting into her to make her serve the role. And this ending song is beautiful too. I have to talk over it because I'm paranoid that it might be a copyrighted song, and the last thing I'd want is for this stream to get pulled down at the end of all this. So, but, you know, it's still like this. I don't think there's anything else that I can say that I haven't already said like a million times. This game is everything it needed to be and more, and it deserves all the recognition and all the love it gets, and I can only hope that this series continues to thrive beyond this, and we get a third game that continues to understand what made this so beautiful, continues to expand upon ideas, continues to get crazier with things, continues to add more on top of it. Oh, it's doing the piano of the theme again, as we get to see this school one last time, and it's going to be so long until we see this school again, potentially. I miss this. Felt like a second home to me by the end of all this. I'm going to miss that, you know? I'm going to miss the hub. How many games can you think of when you genuinely miss the hub world of all fucking things, you know? I'm going to miss going through Kokoro's dungeon. Like this, I can't stress enough, this is going to be a game I will probably end up going through time and time again in my free time. Just like Persona 4 when I was a kid, just like Devil May Cry 3, just like Shin Megami Tensei Nocturne. There's going to be a game that, like, when I'm not streaming and whatnot, I'm going to just fire it up and go through it again at times. This game is so fucking important to me now. There's going to be a point where I'll probably do what I did with Persona 4. When I was younger, I went through Persona 4 once every 6 months and carried that on for years. Because I loved the game so much and it had such a prolific impact, I just wanted to experience it again. This game could become that. I can easily see this game becoming that. Also, when this finishes, also you see that it says it credits some of the Ray staff here. That's interesting. Some of the anime staff. I wonder if it credits some of the Sun, the mobile phone staff here as well. But when this finishes and we see our end scene, I want to check what my total playtime is. I want to see what my total hours are. And just how many hours I've poured into this game already in the span of 2 months. And thank you, Gust, for giving us such a masterpiece. Now we're at the end of all this. Let's see that ending scene. Let's see Ao escape that cycle. Time to go screenshot crazy again. I already have this screenshot. I got this on the first playthrough. I immediately snagged that. Of seeing the gang all together one last time. Alright. So we're going to see Uta walk past Ao, but hopefully this time she'll notice and stop her. Please do that for me. Is the letterbox going to go again? I noticed it in the original playthrough. The letterbox zooms out when Uta looked up. But she hasn't this time because the scene's carrying on. And that's all I needed. That's all I needed. Ah. That's all I needed. I knew it probably wasn't going to be long. That's all I needed to know that she's fine. Ah. Fuck. That was all I needed. I'm not kidding. I didn't want it to be long. I didn't need it to be talky. I just needed to see it end. And that was what it is. We got it. We got it. Al got the comeback. She got to be saved from it. With Uta literally dropping her bag to sprint at her. We're at the end. I promised I wasn't gonna. I promised myself I wasn't gonna cry. And then they got married, hopefully. Yeah. It was the fact that Al was blushing and it was like an old jukebox version of the main theme playing. Like it was super romantic, like that final encapsulation. Yes, and you don't need to see what happens next, you know? That's the beauty of that scene. You didn't need to see that they, you know, made it and all that stuff. You just needed to see that Al was safe. Al broke free from the loop. This game's entire narrative is now tied up in a nice bow, as far as I'm concerned. We can go into the next game without any fear of, like, whenever the next game is, assuming there is one, without any fear of, like, a loose end or whatever. But let's have a look at my total playtime. You won't be able to see the screen, but I can tell you. After 2 and a bit months straight of playing Blue Reflection Second Light in between everything else that we were playing, I completed this second playthrough, and my entire playtime of Blue Reflection Second Light is 139 hours. 139. And what a journey it's been. If I ever make money, I know I'm jumping here, but if I ever reach a position where I start making money and can start hiring, hiring you guys properly as moderators, or maybe hiring an editor, I'm telling you right now, the first thing I'd put an editor on is to make like a highlight of this entire playthrough. You know, I'd pay them good money to go through the whole of like at least this game, if not BR1 as well, and just take every highlight across the entire thing and put it in one big video. I'd do it myself, but I'd have to do it off my phone, and I don't know if that would become awkward to handle, since my PC isn't good enough to handle that stuff anyway. And that's the only reason why I'd be hesitant to do it myself. But it would be something that I would love to do, to kind of celebrate what this game is, because this game deserves to be celebrated as far as I'm concerned. It's an extremely beautiful adventure that has become a very definitive pillar of this channel, I feel. I mean, heck, my description that I haven't updated in for ages, the description that says, like, you know, like and subscribe, and then like has my Twitter and Patreon, still says Uta Best Girl at the bottom. I'm not changing that. That's staying the way that is. That's staying. This is a cornerstone now of this channel, I feel, and I want it to remain that way. It will also make, if there's ever a Blue Reflection 3, the build-up for us to Blue Reflection 3 will be insane. I'm telling you right now, like, I can already see it, like, the hype that at least I will have and this channel will probably generate for Blue Reflection 3 will be insane. You know? Like, we'll be so, like on it. But it's like, but I guess I should try, just before we wrap up, talk about what I'd like to see out of a third one. Like, putting the obvious, like, Yuki Reina and Ao Uta thing to one side, because that's obvious. I want to see that happen, obviously. I want to learn... I know in the anime we learn more about the SSAA, or the SSAS, or whatever it's called, or the AASA, what, you know what, the association that some of the members are a part of. But I want that to be integrated more into the game. I want to... I know it's a part of the anime, but I want to learn more about it directly. I want to see how it involves and how you can interact with it in the game. As much as I love the school, I don't want it to be this kind of strong structure a third round. Because the school in this game is very reminiscent to the one in the first. And I know that's deliberate, but you know what I mean. I want there to be more expressive of locations. I want there to be a change in seasons. I get the summer vibe that both these games have, but I'd love to see different takes. Maybe like an autumnal season. Maybe having to like put all the characters put on thicker coats for the winter, and it snows, and you have like a special like event where you make snowmen or something. You know, have spring where you have to start like making the like, spring could be when it introduces like the farming mechanics or whatnot, and have something there with that. Because that's the other thing I was going to get to. I want there to be a more like established farming mechanic in the next game, to gather resources other than just running loops around dungeons to get them. You know, I think that is something that they could do, and I thought it was what they were gonna do. When early in the game they bring up if they could correct the land, they could maybe get some farming stuff on it. I thought that's what they were gonna go for, and make it that you can set up a farm and like certain crops and things you can plant to make more later on. But they just end up not doing it. So that's something I'd like to see in a third, like an actual farming system. You know, if they're not going to give us a fishing system, give us a farming system. And ultimately, much more Spice of Life events. Keep the dating system as it is. I think the date system works fine. I would love for it to involve other people every now and then, but I get that's what the like the social, like the people scenes, like the, you know, the icon of the person, those scenes are for. But just go crazy with those ones, the latter instead. Have more of them around, where we can have more characters bouncing off each other, or more like random events, like when you put in the light pool and you get the "we want to have fun" scene. You know, more just random nonsensical scenes that are just there for fun. So you can feel with the characters a bit more, bounce off them and vibe with them more, and make them feel like actual, you know, people more. Because that's the beauty of this game, is that they all feel like real people, so lean into that more. And then, I guess, other than that, maybe bring back the kaiju battles, if you can figure out how to figure that one out from the first game, because I kind of miss them a little in this. As much as I vastly prefer the gameplay formula of this game over the first, like it's literally night and day, it would be nice to see if they could find a way to get kaiju battles back in. I think that would be fun to see how they could figure that out somehow. But I think that's about it. I think that's about all I can say for Blue Reflection Second Light. I'm still struggling the process we're done. You know, it's so weird. this game meant so much and it's now behind us. It's so like, everything comes to an end. That's literally part of the message of this game, that everything comes to an end eventually. But it's like, fuck, we're now here. It's the same when you're playing a Persona game. When you reach the end of a Persona game, you're like, well, okay, now we're here, great, you know? But this won't be our last endeavor with Gust Games, as I have said repeatedly throughout this. And very soon, I don't know when, but very soon, I want to start Knights of Azure, the first one, and see what that's like, and see where that takes us. And hopefully I enjoy it, even if it probably will have, you know, the Gust jank that they seem to have. I'm sure I'll probably at least enjoy some of it. And if I do, brilliant, because then it gives me something to look forward to see what they maybe reinvent or change around with the second game. But then on the other side of Soul Hackers, so we're talking autumn at this point, because I imagine Soul Hackers will be quite a long playthrough considering it's an Atlas game. We will do Atelier Riser and just take it from there, and we'll just figure it out as we go. But, as always, thank you so much for watching. This game's now one of my all-time favorites. I don't know where it goes on my list of top 10, but it's certainly fucking up there. And I will see you tomorrow as we start, as this journey ends, we start another with Castlevania Harmony of Dissonance, as we follow the adventure of Juiced Belmont. And I'll see you then. You take care now. Thanks for joining me on this adventure. I know I've said that before, but it's still kind of hitting me. Peace. I love this game. I love these guys.